Yeah, hello. How you guys doing, man? Yeah, hello. Today is the 27th of August, 2026. The 27th of August, 2026. How you guys doing? Especially those of you in Liberia. How you doing? How everybody, man? You're welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome. You're thank you for popping around here. Enjoy the conversation. I want to welcome everybody, man. All of y'all. Y'all. But who better want to talk to y'all? Now, all of y'all. That I'm some of y'all. Y'all welcome. Welcome everybody, man, from across the country to our radio stations, to our people throughout Liberia. We say you're welcome on this special day. Today's Thursday, the 27th of August, 2026. I want to welcome everybody, man. Wherever you are watching from, those of you that come in later, we say a pre-welcome before you get here. I want to welcome everybody. Thank you for joining the conversation. Those of you in Liberia, especially all across our country, man. You're welcome. You're welcome, Victoria K. Brown, Madam Brown, Dwana S. Dwana. The usual suspects are here. I say GK Brown. It's actually G Brown is here. He is watching from Chicken Soup Factory in Monrovia, Liberia, West Africa. Keep on the good work. Thank you so much, Isaac, for listening and being here with us. My brother, Faliku Kamara, is here out of Ramsey, Minnesota. Minnesota, my brother Faliku, how are you doing? Thank you for joining the conversation. Stanley Gadia. Stephen Jackson is here as well. Arthur Butler from Wadena, Minnesota. Minnesota is always in the house, man. Marie Calago, Tape, Madam Tape, how are you doing? Rebecca Williams. Rebecca, hello. Alice Johnson says hello to everybody else. And she's saying hello from Roe Island, the island of Roe. Way out there, man. You're welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome. And all the men are passing around, the woman will get your money. I'm coming for you. I get some discussion with you. They think we're going to be passing up around here causing no input here. Look, even the Nigerians are mad what's happening in the country. You're welcome. You're welcome. All across Liberia, man. You're welcome. Project Omar, what you say? Tell us something.
Let me go with you. Project. What happened?
No, I know. You know? That's not so. I can remember a lot of time when the rebel entered our town.
Yeah.
They put a waste planet together.
Yeah.
Is it? You have seen something?
Oh, yeah, yeah, could go move over. I go now, Muka, Baba, could go move over. So what I mean, eh?
Oh,
Yeah.
that's my.
Yeah.
Fire in the center, in the fire, and fire in the hole, the fire in the hole.
Fire in the hole. The hole in the fire.
The hole in the fire.
Yeah.
And the center on fire.
Yeah.
The center in the fire.
Yeah. Okay.
Now,
Huh?
and now is it.
Huh?
Nothing that have been happening. People been overlooking it.
Okay.
People feeding oh.
People feeding now.
But I feeding was not the problem.
Feeding without something. Okay, I know he's talking to now.
Why you know?
Yeah. But how now she's still feeding, eh?
She like she going come.
Yeah, but I thought she can't go to work like her side.
But she's not clear her. Her not clear.
Her son not clear.
Her not clear. What did I talk about? Bread what she stay in front of her? Who are you there?
I'm telling you.
She got to clear her.
Huh? But how now she get 50 project or she get that 50. So what will do now?
I think 4 charges.
4 eh?
Anyone.
Huh?
What is that about?
I'm telling you.
They say they're making to play.
So the baby really see me on the thing here, but one thing that making me very about the Liberian people, I thought they are selling in the street, they say they now want draw. They were naked outside, they go to the executive mansion. They went now, they on the street again, they say the money they want.
She will be investigated no matter who you be.
Okay.
No special person.
Okay.
About the husband, eh?
Yeah.
You know what President Boga said me?
No.
He said you project woman say your nisa and you will clear yourself.
Okay.
Then who was in now?
Nah,
when the project can clear herself. Who
Yes.
can clear their
No,
house?
how about clear yourself?
Huh?
How about clear yourself?
They will clear their
Yeah.
We'll not be here for it.
All right, thank you. Yeah.
Project Omar. Everybody will clear that side. Like I say, you fin. You clear that side. Project Omar, I call nobody need. And you know the person need. I don't know Project Omar needs that. Project Omar, I say everybody will clear that side. For instance, our movement, what's going on? Out of Plebo. Out of the beautiful Maryland County. How you doing, my brother? Rachel Official. Welcome to the show. Royce. Draper, how are you doing? Lua Carter. Yeah, Lua. Project Omar, everybody will clear that side. Tena Cooper. My sister, how are you doing? I hope you're doing well. Thank you for popping in here, man. Everybody clearing side across the country. Look, something is happening in the country, and sometimes we laugh a little bit, but it's important that we highlight some of these things because they're serious in the country. Our babies are becoming prostitutes. These things are continuing to happen. My intention here is not to bring shame to this young woman. It is to highlight the dire circumstances in the country that we must address directly. Kids as young as 16 years old. I hope the gender ministry is listening across our city. They're all over the city. We have to formulate a strategy around this. Let's listen to this one woman, maybe for about 1 minute. I'll not play the whole thing when it gets a little vulgar.
How are you?
I'm 16 years of age.
You're 16 years old. So what are you doing in school at the time?
And you got over money.
You got over money. How you can get the money?
And you got short time for it.
Short time. Wow. How long you been doing anything for?
Just a few days.
Are you few days? So what it cost?
Because thing half for me.
Thing half for you. Wow. So if you come, which class you stop in?
I'm in the 8th grade SSDM.
SSDM, you're in 8th grade. Wow. You charge because of money. And you can call short time. And you're 16 years old.
Yes.
Wow. Are you a librarian?
Yes.
I'm curious if you got looking at where to get a quality film you can watch.
I'm going to say this. When the Americans became very serious about prostitution across this country, they started targeting those who were patronizing prostitution in the country. You got to target the men. These babies have to get out of the streets of Liberia. She's 16 years old. I don't know why any justifiable reason. She said she lives with her big sister. We are seeing this more and more. The kids are getting younger and younger. The Justice Ministry have to put people out there at night to take some of the kids off the street and try to arrest the men that are patronizing these businesses. This is now, we got to make some people shame in the country. Really make some men shame, be men, and we got to make them shame to stop this. If we men do not patronize the prostitution in the country, the girls are going to stop. Yeah, Dolo, you say you saw one 14 years old. Yeah. If men do not patronize this, the girls are going to stop. I'm going to tell you that I have the solution to this, but I thought to bring it before my people and we can start talking about these things. And the young girls have to leave the streets. If you are leaving the interior, you're coming to Monrovia, especially if you're listening on the radio station in one of the counties. We are literally covering all 15 counties now. Listen to me. Do not leave the interior to come to Monrovia when you don't have a means of support in Monrovia. Or you cannot leave the big cities. I mean, the countryside. You go into Ganta, or you go into Buchanan, or you go into Banga. You go into Foya when you don't have a means to feed yourself. It's going to get really, really hard on you. Most likely you will resort to prostitution. We have to discourage this in the country. I want to continue to welcome you guys all across Liberia. You're welcome. Fan Kakia, welcome to the show. Dolo, what's popping, brother? Catherine, Amma, Masari, welcome to the show. Austin, Yum, Beatrice, and Musa. Habi, what's going on with you, man? Blama is also here. Thank you for joining us. Yesterday I spoke about South Beach and the deplorable conditions that are in our prison. And somebody who's actually been in South Beach, and that we all know, he spoke about South Beach, and I thought it was a fitting video to bring here so we can bring more attention to these prisons across our country, because the conditions in these prisons are horrible. Sometimes we laugh with them, but this is serious. It's very, very bad. Listen as Henry Costa actually described the conditions in some of these prisons.
South Beach is horrible. And whose fault is it? Our politicians. They didn't fix it up. They didn't care, because in Liberia, traditionally, big people don't go to prison. Big people don't go to jail. It's only the little guys that go to prison. So the big people don't care. You didn't fix South Beach up, but it looks like some big people are about to go to South Beach. Yes, for the first time in my 44 years, since I began to know myself, it looks like for the first time some big people are going to go to prison. I'm not talking about some big person going to a jail, being detained for a night or two, and then after political wheeling and dealing, and then the person gets free. When was the last time, as far back as you can recall, that a big person, so-called, quote-unquote, big shot, got to go to jail in Liberia? When was the last time? When was the last time? So, for the first time, we can tell that big people are about to go to prison. And you all didn't fix South Beach. You didn't fix South Beach. South Beach is a horrible place. And so now the big people who didn't fix South Beach, they are the big people who are about to go to South Beach. It's going to become the new residents.
And for me, I have no qualms of South Beach being in its current condition so they can experience what the typical Liberian experiences every single time he or she is put in a filthy place. A place is like a dungeon from medieval times. That's how it looks in there. We have to do better, not because we just want to do better for the sake of doing better, but because whatever better we do may also benefit us as a people individually. So that's the reason why we got to do better. And Liberian people, we got to do better when we are in power. It is important. I cannot stress this enough because Liberia must get better. Some of the deportees that are brought to Liberia, he was being interviewed, and I told the player about the meaning of his interview. You're welcome to the show from across the country.
Them, sir. Good afternoon and welcome to Spoon TV. How are you?
Thank you so much. Okay. I'm fine.
Okay. So you want to tell us your name and your nationality?
I'm called Joseph Chiabo.
Okay.
From Cameroon.
From Cameroon. Welcome to Liberia once more.
Thank you.
So, how is Liberia since you arrived?
Actually, Liberia, to me, is a heaven in Africa.
Heaven in Africa?
Yes. As you can see, right from our reception, as we landed at the airport, being handcuffed from the US,
okay,
traveled all through in the 15 journey flight without rest because all of us were handcuffed. Then we approached the Liberian authorities as we landed, and they took us in a very welcoming way,
okay,
to a very nice hotel, and we have been taken care of very well too.
Okay. So, how long have you been in the United States?
I've been in the United States in detention.
And I want to commend the government for taking care of our brothers. If we accept them, we have to be hospitable. I know currently they are in hotels. Hopefully, pretty soon, they can put them in apartments across the city to make sure they house them in an environment until they can leave the country if they so choose to leave the country. For those are the people that are going to leave. And I'm grateful that they're being treated quite nicely. This is a good thing. There are a lot of apartments across the country that they can actually post some of these people to kind of minimize the cost to the Liberian government. But then again, I'm happy that they're being treated very nicely. It is good to know that. Jebe Bakana is also watching from Corwell. How are you doing, Jebe? Welcome to the show. Marcus Gima is from Morovia, watching from Morovia. I'm sorry. Darling, is that Babu? Good evening. I am present in class. You are absolutely present. Grace B. Moe is here. Victoria K. Foconia. My own sister, Nettie K.H. Robert Blog. Nettie, go out there. Jacob, hi, woman Nettie. Hey, Nettie, so now I'm watching her. So I say, yeah, Nettie, no more by getting flash. I don't want to know. Nettie, why are swing people if you don't like what I want to assume? Let me tell you about Clarence Doe is here. Catherine Kumar, right? Everybody, man, you're welcome to the show. You know, sometimes you're not going to get over plus zero, you know. Let's listen to the Nigerian first before we laugh small more. Let's listen to the Nigerian first. What are they thinking about our man when you go give speech? In fact, there's a lot of Nigerians countering to this speech. They say former president was not the kind of person, a corrupt individual, a kleptocrat, a total idiot. They brought to the Nigerian Bar Association. They're very angry all over Nigeria. Let's listen to this other brother.
So NBA invited George Way. You know George Way? George Way is the first and the only person that has won world best from Africa. He was the former Liberian president. Now, to what reason, or for what reason was he invited? What were his achievements during his leadership in the terms of democracy? Because I think that whatever you are doing today is to fix the democracy of Nigeria. And that's the reason you are doing the summit. So, if you are inviting somebody who has zero contribution in his own place, what are you inviting him for? just to have the name, that you have this personality on board when we had this Congress. It is useless. So I don't.
And these videos are popping up all over Nigerian social media that it was completely useless. They cannot think of one contribution from former President Weah Thomas democracy in Liberia. Under this man's regime, the issue of law and order did not exist. Kleptocracy took over the country. Drug infestation. He did not care about a job. He left the country for almost 50 consecutive days. Auditors were being murdered. Justices of the Supreme Court were being removed without cause. He was a total totalitarianism. That's what we experienced under President Weah. And number two, his idiocy compounded that because he really didn't know what he was doing. And he allowed everybody else in the country to do what they wanted to do. So what was he going to speak on? And that's why every organization in the world will continue to respond to this stuff and say, listen, this is not the kind of man we want you to bring before us going forward. Look, some of the Zogos are coming up in Liberia and they're saying, under President Weah administration, we used to be free in Liberia. We were smoking our weed all around. In fact, we used to watch flat screen TV. And mind you, Zogos could not afford flat screen TV. Somebody was giving it to them. Most of them came under from President Weah, sometimes himself. They gave them flat screen TV. They actually brought the drugs to these young people to destroy the future of Liberia. Listen to one of them.
Oh, doing job, we are not at time. I used to tell the Joss. All right.
You know about no embarrassment.
The DA then I use some more.
Yeah, oh, we get flash screen here, everyone, but this time you can see that thing. Yeah, the other government account is on the phone and really getting hard to eat. Well, all you be saying and cooking, eating, I think again, I've been running here or
So why some of the places that you used to get your flash screen, your relax?
Yeah, I say Chongo, yeah, Pinot Beanie, Flapper, I get West Point, Slayway, but I mean, no time.
There is this misconception in Liberia that if you're a B-man and you go in a poor area, you eat with the people, that means you're in solidarity with the people. That is not true. The likes of Koji, a lot of government officials will go to the ghetto, carry flat screen TV. They sit down, they eat with these logos, bring more drugs for them. They get in small money to buy more drugs. And in the typical person's mind, yeah, the man down to earth. No, he is not down to earth. He's killing your future. If he's down to earth, he will remove the drug. He will build proper institutions to house you and cleanse you and put you back into society so you can become a productive citizen of our society. That's when he knows he loves you. That's what you see him being done on President Bwaka's administration. President Bwaka said the next generation, and he means it. So people that were destroying our future, even the Zogos, this is not one person. There's a lot of people out there say before the DEA can even kind of with all they smoke with, all they drink with, all, but this time you can't see it because the institution is being built for the next generation. And this is how it's supposed to be. And guess what? Liberia not going back to that. And during that time, they were all passing around talking nonsense. You're causing problem in the country. In fact, let them dance for each small. This is what they care about. On President Weah Town. This is the kind of nonsense they care about. You're welcome to the show.
Yo. Nobody want to us. And the intellectual capacity to confront access.
There's a contradiction. So I think the guys are just a bunch of what we call political and professional tabula rasa and buccaneers.
Who that want to develop their country will bring this bunch of misfits and give them state power again. People could not hear in the country all day. Jaja. They're just making all kind of stupid noise and speaking upside down English, causing noise in the country. No more would that be allowed to come to Liberia. Though I want to say this, I see this thing on social media today. Everybody running with it. Oh, the gender ministry saying you're running out of context. In fact, before I even counter what she said, you're listening to her small from her own mouth. Some people don't know what the woman was saying. They misconstrued it, and I want to explain what it means.
It doesn't work because the law said it does not have earning. He doesn't earn income. When you say you doing side hustle, you got business, so you just sit down and say the woman will take care of you. We're talking about a man who has taken care of his family, and at some point life got bad, and the woman is working and she refused to take care of the children, and the husband, of course, according to the law, that woman is under obligation to, take care of the family. And then back to the.
And I want to say this. This should go without saying. What she really was trying to say, a family is one. You and your wife, you're one. If you were working before, you're doing what you're supposed to do as a man. And God forbid you lose your job. It is an expectation that should go without saying. It's not something that must be legislated. If your work is now working, automatically she should take care of the home. There's nothing wrong with that. I don't think anything is wrong with that. But when people believe that if you were in position before, you're not taking care of the home, or you're not doing what you're supposed to do, then all of a sudden you're out of a job, and now that woman get a job, you want to get you money. I said no. And number two, let me tell you something. Women are not designed to give men money. It's going to be indignifying giving if that woman is not well cultured, if she was not brought up in a proper home. Her mouth alone in her home will emasculate you 24/7. I don't think any well-meaning man will want any kind of money from women. For me, I'm a pro man 24/7. I will continue to advocate that we create jobs in the country to make sure these men go to work so they can uplift their Liberian families, so we can push Liberia forward, to pass on our culture and our tradition. But here again, what she's saying here is, I know some people joking on social media, but we got to be very, very clear. Your wife, specifically, I'm not talking about your girlfriend, your wife's supposed to take care of the home when you don't have a job. There's nothing wrong with that. When you're working, you take care of the home. This modern life is not coming from one side. I know in Liberia, there's this big thing now where people believe the men will just give. It's not the men who don't get it. But here's the thing. We got to understand, if people are married, you'll take care of each other. That is normal. That is very normal. And we should treat that very normally. And I want people to understand that. That's the point I'm trying to drive home. We know what happened in the country today with the Supreme Court judgment that came down. And most of the judgments will come down. This is the excerpt here. Supreme Court of Liberia has ordered the incarceration. We'll be starting the show soon. You guys are super early. Former officials of the Forestry Department, Forestry Authority, and the Ministry of Mines and Energy, including Managing Director Moses Walkway, former technical manager John Canto, former commercial forestry manager Janga Kamara, former Grand Bassa County surveyor David Bly, and former director cartography at the Ministry of Lands, Mines and Energy Maxwell Gui for defrauding the government of Liberia. Associate Justice His Honor Bwaka and Kane, reading the Supreme Court's judgment, said the defendants will spend 1 year each in prison and pay a restitution of $10,000 each for the crime of economic sabotage. That's what was said out there. We know the president had a retreat today, and President Bwaka retreat, a summation of that retreat shared here for immediate release from the Executive Mansion website. Anybody can go there and take a look at it. Procure with accountability. President Bwaka demands strict adherence to public procurement rules. Thursday, August 27, 2026. Executive Mansion, Monrovia. President Joseph Yuma Bwaka Senior has called for strict adherence to Liberia's public procurement framework, stating that compliance and established procurement procedure is essential to protecting public resources, ensuring fair competition, and preventing favoritism in government contracting. Most people in our society, for you to go up, sometimes it comes from government contracting, and we got to understand this continuously. We are about to start the show. I want to recognize all you guys from across the country. I want to recognize the radio stations all throughout Liberia. The Radio Margibi out of Kakata Margibi County, Classic FM out of Kakata Margibi County, Voice of Lofa. We say big shout out to our people in Lofa County. Thank you for always being here. Peace FM out of Habel, Radio Kwatike in Bangabong County. To our people in Bon County, we say you're welcome. Ablije Radio, way out there in Grand Bassa County. Premier FM also in Bangabong County. Radio Gompa out of Ganta City, Dima County. Thank you for joining the conversation. Radio Yalimba out of Sekli PA, Top FM out of Zwedru. Radio Sano, way out there in Greenville, Sano County. We want to also say big shout out to Smile FM out of Zwedru. The ever-present Radio Butor out of Butor, Sano County. Trust FM out of Bummy Punch FM, of course, in Monrovia. Radio Bourgeois, and we say big shout out to DC 101 as well. Y'all, thank you for popping in here. We will start the show, but I'm going to have the president speak to us again through his speech yesterday. It's about 8 minutes long. You're leaning back. The show starts at 8:30, but the president has to give this speech one more time. You're welcome, you're welcome, you're welcome.
My fellow Liberians, I come to you this evening to reaffirm a solemn commitment. This administration will enforce the law without fear or favor while protecting the constitutional rights of every person. Over the past several days, developments in our country have sparked public discussion, concern, and in some cases, misinformation. As president, I believe it's my duty to speak directly to you, offer reassurances, and make clear that justice must be pursued firmly, fairly, and independently. When you entrusted me with the leadership of the country, you did so with a clear expectation that I would uphold the Constitution, govern with integrity, strengthen our institutions, and ensure that no one is above the law. Liberia faces serious challenges, but we are making deliberate progress to the arrest agenda for inclusive development. Yet, none of our work in the economy, education, infrastructure, or public institutions cannot succeed unless it is anchored in the fundamental principle, the rule of law. One of the greatest threats facing our nation is the growing menace of illicit drugs and organized crime. Drugs are destroying young lives, weakening families, fueling violence, and threatening our country's future. Let me reoccur here that this is not a simple law enforcement issue. It is a national security and moral issue. Consistent with our pledge, my administration has intensified the fight against narcotic trafficking, money laundering, and organized crime. Our security institutions have been directed to act professionally, independently, and without fear or favor, working with a national and international partner to prevent Liberia from becoming a transit point for illegal drugs or a safe haven for criminal networks. Let me be clear, this campaign is deliberate, coordinated, and unrelenting. It is intended to defend the Liberian people, protect the Liberian character, and safeguard our nation's future. The national campaign against drugs and organized crime is not directed at any individual, party, or political movement. It is directed at conduct that threatens the safety, stability, and future of Liberia. In recent days, the arrest and the detention of former Vice President Joe Howard Taylor has understandably drawn national and international attention. I assure every Liberian, our regional neighbors, and our international partners that former Vice President Joe Taylor is being treated in full compliance with the Constitution and the laws of Liberia. She is presumed innocent, has access to legal counsel, and is entitled to due process which will be upheld. The former Vice President had been arrested and charged in accordance with our legal procedures. It is not the president's role to determine guilt or innocence. That responsibility belongs to our independent justice system. Our democracy will be measured not by how we treat those with whom we agree, but how faithfully we uphold the rights of every person who comes before the law. For those who have expressed concern, I say this: your concern is legitimate in democracy, but guilt or innocence must be determined by the court, not by politics, rumor, conjecture, or public pressure. My administration will neither persecute nor shield anyone because of political affiliation, office, status, or influence. Whether one has held high office, served in government, led a business, or lived as an ordinary citizen, the law must apply equally to all. I commend the men and women of our joint security for their professionalism, courage, and devotion to duty. Despite pressure and attempts at intimidation and calculated misinformation, they must remain steadfast, impartial, and respectful of rights and dignity of all citizens. This fight cannot be won by government alone. I ask parents, communities, schools, religious institutions, traditional leaders, young people to reject misinformation, support prevention, report criminal activity through lawful channels, and allow due process to proceed. I call on political and religious leaders, civil society, and public commentators to act responsibly. Differences of opinion are healthy in a democracy, but we must reject words and actions that incite violence, undermine institutions, or seek to intimidate those enforcing our laws. Liberia has come too far to revert to a culture in which justice is swayed by fear, power, or political pressure. Our nation has endured conflict, hardship, and division, yet we have shown resilience and commitment to peace. Let us preserve the peace by upholding Constitution and strengthening institutions that safeguard our democracy. As your president, I assure you that this government remains committed to justice, fairness, accountability, and peace. We will govern without fear or favor, protect every citizen's right, and build a Liberia where peace is preserved, justice is impartial, and accountability applies equally to all. May God continue to bless you, preserve our peace, and save our republic.
Say what you will, Liberia is rising. Thank you, Mr. President.
Yeah, Liberia developing. This is the Class Reloaded, the #1 online show that brings the truth. Showcasing J&B and JKK progress all across the country.
The Class Reloaded, we are online every day. Showcasing progress the Liberian way.
Well,
JMB and JKK, they're making the way. The Class Reloaded, we're shining today. Oh.
From Monrovia City to the other counties, development talk shake the country. We talk the truth, we don't lie. The rescue mission making people smile. Roads getting better, schools better, electricity stable, no more hoping. We see the change, we see the light. Unity Party doing things right. Who talk the facts?
The Class Reloaded.
Who bring the vibe?
The Class Reloaded.
Support development.
The Class Reloaded.
Who better arise again?
Oh yes we can.
Who talk the facts?
The Class Reloaded.
Who bring the vibe?
The Class Reloaded.
Support development.
The Class Reloaded.
Who better arise again?
Oh yes we can. The Class Reloaded. We are online every day.
Every day.
Hey. Showcasing progress the Liberian way.
Well, JMB and JKK, they're making the way. The Class Reloaded, we shining today.
Hey.
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 Turn up the sound, let the people dance. Liberia progress, we get the chance. No fake news, we bring the proof. The Class Reloaded always in the booth. From social media to the street corner, everybody talking about the new order. Respect to the hosts, they keeping it real. Liberia future, that's the deal. The Class Reloaded,
Truth.
Liberia rising,
Progress.
JMB and JKK,
Develop.
the rescue mission, we move soon.
The Class Reloaded.
True.
Liberia rising.
Progress.
JMB and JKK.
Develop. The rescue mission, we move soon.
You're welcome from across the country to everybody, man. Welcome to my brother here, Solomon B. Henry. Welcome. Nobody worships anybody here. Maybe perhaps you can come and join the platform, listen in every single day and learn something what it takes to become patriotic towards your country and not to deify an individual. We put Liberia first here all time. At no point in time does anybody jaja and say, "Bagu better my God." Here, we elevate Liberia above everything else. And President Bwaka will develop this country. He will put Liberia in its proper place. And please, join us every single day. Just follow the rules, no insults, and you can be here anytime you want. And let's talk Liberia. Welcome to the show, Honorable Nambe. I see Mo is here. Mr. Yanton is equally here. My brother Blair, welcome to the show. Blair, when you going for your no woman to pay your car pay? Mo, you don't pay a car pay?
No, the gender minister is the minister of the week.
Okay.
Justice for men. Justice for men.
Look at that's what she meant.
So if
let me join the topic here.
No, you were trying the topic, but Patrick say already you're trying that because I saw your post today. But let me clear, the woman I say boyfriend, girlfriend is a husband and wife.
Husband, yeah, it's a good to be the
Patrick,
it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
Okay, try your own.
Good evening, good afternoon. But let me just say, it just says exactly what men go through. And sometimes we try to make fun out of this. But in this part of the world, relationship is welfare. And that is a challenge. I mean, we try to make fun of it, right? We talk about it, this and that, but it has become general welfare now. Welfare. It's not supposed to be like that. In your part of the world, it's not like that. Well, in some instances, it is. Yeah. But for the most part, it's not like that. So we seem to be getting to a point where, more than that, I need to say this, the gender ministry over time has become known to be Ministry of Women.
True.
So for the Minister of Gender to talk anything that concerns men, the woman became the GOAT, the MVP. What best? When not how calling that woman GOAT. Congratulations to Minister Gbemi Horace. You are the GOAT.
Now all you want to her? Larma, that push it onto you. This what you pay our car pay to when we see there or no?
I think the gender minister strike a balance to me. And the law is very clear. But most so, let's look at it from the cultural perspective, right? When a man gets married, he doesn't get married alone to his wife. in addition to the basic things that he provides, fix her hair, fix her nails, pay rent, take care of her upkeep. He also got married to the relatives, sent brothers and sister-in-laws to school, take care of mother hospital bill. And at the end of the day, he gets incapacitated or lost his job. Two things might happen. If that woman is a good woman, she stick around. If she's some other woman, the next day she's taking the exit door. So I think she struck a balance because, like Patrick said, for a long time, people saw gender ministry as a way of just punishing men. But today, her revelation shows that there are also laws that protect men, especially in the institution of marriage. So I want to say kudos to her. She struck a balance. This is how we should look at it from a cultural perspective. It's not an amateur thing. The institution of marriage is not amateur. We should all enter it with equal balance, just as the Constitution provides for equality under the law, irrespective of any gender. So that's my take.
Glory and meter.
Omo Nambe.
I mean, class on fire today.
Yeah, Omo Nambe, let's hear from you because I know, right? Omo Nambe, should they be paying our campaign when they ask us to go see them too, or only one way?
You know, the thing is for people that are married. It has nothing to do with boyfriend, girlfriend business. No.
Yeah.
Because when you stand there and you say for better and for worse, for richer or for poorer, and because basically what the minister has been able to set forth here as remind us, because it has been on the books, whenever a man is in a better position employment-wise and then a divorce takes place, he is required to be able to provide support for the wife. But what has been happening is that men, either they are not aware or giving our own cultural arrangement, have not been going there to ask that the Ministry of Gender also make sure that they are also taken care of because their wives are in better position to do so. That me as a husband, I am not working, my wife works, and then she has to take care of me. So taking care of each other is a two-way street, as agreed under the oath of marriage. So this is just being re-emphasized. But the point here for me is that this is the first time where the issue of gender is being predominantly removed now from just being things of women and children affair, because that was literally the interpretation. It's they will let gender and all that. No, this is about taking care of or concerning, looking at the roles of men and women and different aspects of it. So the minister now have said the Ministry of Gender is not just a women and children ministry. It also caters to the needs of men. I think that's why people like Patrick are so excited.
Yeah, but let me ask you before I go to more honorable number. I want to ask you a question though. I believe, maybe I could be wrong, or maybe I've gotten too Americanized. I believe when people are married, normally in Liberia, it goes without saying, when you don't get it, your wife get it. It come in the household. Nobody has to remind anybody. That's how it normally is, right?
No, the how it's supposed to be, but there's something I may be wrong.
Yeah.
But here, under normal circumstances, every men have been very generous to their wives. There are very few people, unlike what you guys do in America, where Mrs. Dwalu takes her pay, you get your pay, you can put it on the table, you decide.
It go in the C account.
That normally that is not happening here. All right. Okay. The expectation is that you, Mr. Dwalu, is your responsibility to take care of the home, take care of the wife, and this. So I don't care how much money the woman makes. You hear say, "Oh, I help you with the children's school fee." Help. I help you with the children's school fee. I help you with that one, and so. Their money is always theirs. They decide what, and that's the reason. Even when you go out, if there are women around on the table, at the end of the day, there's no expectation that they will contribute, to the cost of whatever beverage or food that was consumed as a result of your meeting.
Try that when you know.
Try what?
They will leave on the table drinking and go.
No, but yeah, Liberians were normally they were even shy. Oh no, all your money, because the reason why Patrick will do this, because we want the control. So you got to pay for it. You know, how the man in the home, how the man in the home. So you pay for it.
But maybe because that should be automatic. But let me go on to Mo. Sano, welcome to the show. Mo, you have not spoken to this issue for me because over the last 25 years, I'm working with I get paid. I don't even know where I can get paid. So you go in and see a cancer. You're not gonna ask me for money. Mo.
But I'm married.
Oh, okay.
But anyway, I want to talk on behalf. I want to talk for the married men.
Okay, go ahead.
Ask Patrick. Mo can't talk nothing in there. Ask Patrick.
Shut up.
Ask Patrick. That Patrick should ask that question about
yesterday, the gender minister wrote for the women, and there was no noise. They were all celebrating.
What she said yesterday?
She talked the same thing about women who got children for men, and those men are empowered. They are not supporting the children. They should make that way to gender ministry. So
yeah, but that's obvious. That's obvious now.
Yeah, so the women were all there celebrating. Today now I see some lawyer there ready, long talk.
The expert.
You're not care. Look, when you go get married, you will not get married. The person officiating the wedding can ask the both parties the same question.
Correct.
Right? They can ask both parties the same question. The question they ask the man, he answers is the same question they can ask the woman, and the woman answer. Why we acknowledge that, the man should be responsible for the home because from the time of creation, men are the head of the family. But here is the thing. The reason why people get married is because you want companionship.
That's right.
You want a partner. If the partnership is not mutualistic, then there is no reason to get in it. Let's be honest. If I am going into a marriage for that marriage to just be a burden on only me, then I don't see the reason why I should go there. Because people get into marriages in order to have a companionship, to have a partner who you can contribute together. Right. That's why they say two heads are better than one.
That's right.
But if you went into the marriage and the only objective is for only one side of the marriage to contribute, even if the person does not have it, they have to force it, then it's a problem. So, like I usually hear the women saying, my money for me, your money for us. No. Your money that our money, my money that our money. The day I get married, it's going to be a simple principle. Everything we get to or is for us. Your own for you, then my own for all of us. So people, you live in this. Because of the amount you're paying bills.
Yeah.
One reason that can compel many guys in the States and many women in the States to get married is because of the complementarity.
That's right.
That you have to complement each other. And people will say, oh, okay, my own salary will take care of the bills, your own salary will take care of this one. That's why you get married. If it is not because you want to complement each other, it's not because of companionship, not because of partnership, then I don't see any reason to get married. So, when the lady said it, the minister said it, and I saw, for example, our infamous Paeja wrote one whole long stuff to debunk and law and this and that. No law tell you, say, when the men are getting and you get it, you can support the home.
But you see, that's
why it is partnership, it is companionship, and it's there to complement each other. Thank you.
Thank you, Mo. I think you made some great point. And Larama, you just came back. I'm going to say this, though. I get it. We go back and forth. In fact, I was listening to a social media post today, and another girl said, well, hey, I'm married to you. You won't give it to me. I will get my outside boyfriend give it to me. That's a whole nother conversation. But yes, the thing, though, why would anybody think that even if you're not in America, or you're not in a bill country, if you're in Liberia, that if you get it, it's not for the household? I don't understand that logic. I don't understand it. So if I get sick now and I cannot provide, and you have a means, that means I'm left stranded. Then, like Mo said, there's no point in me getting married because the marriage covers you. It's meant for covering you. You know what I mean? So, Lorma, let's hear your take, because if you're not going to be there when I get sick, I don't want you around when I'm well.
Yeah, but we have seen, we have seen plenty of example of how people lose job, and then on top of it, they lost the relationship and the woman.
Wow.
And I'll give you a practical example. Doing Malansaliftan, there's a guy who used to be very crazy. He used to call him Forum. Forum, the story behind Forum is that after Clemens, and Sen Namwe Baby can correct that information, that bit of history. After Clemens in this country, he was one of the best journalists we had in the 80s. The story goes that this guy was frustrated by a woman to the extent possible that he ended on the street insane.
Wow.
So during his day, during the top of the premium of his career, he had a family, he supported his wife, but when things went south, that was the end of the story. So I think we have to have deeper conversations around this. On one hand, it's a broader part of this conversation around women equality, the rise of the feminism movement, and all of that. So women on one hand want all of the equal treatment, the princess treatment. They want all of the rights under the law. They want equality. But then to the advantage of the very men that wake up in the morning, 6 o'clock, some men, they leave their houses, they go to work, they don't even come back until 10, 11, trying to provide and put food on the table for their family, their children, shelter over the heads of their women, and give them the kind of dignity. So when things go south and then you run away, I mean, we need to have honest conversation around this. It's not about law to me. It's more about the culture, the attitude of men and women in marriages, in the institution of marriage. And I speak as a married man, right? I don't think when things go down today for me or something, I expect my wife to leave me, especially for those of us who come from the US. They have to pay bills in Liberia and also still cater to the family who is, away in the US and all of that. So it's a double pressure. So I support the idea and the position of the gender minister. I think that law has to be enforced.
Yeah, and before we go forward, Carolyn, I'm playing small politics here. The gender minister are very, very clear. They're talking about responsible husbands in the home, but this notion in Liberia that, look, nowadays, unless you're multi-millionaire, you cannot pay everything, whether you're in Liberia or here. But here's the crucial point. You took a vow, especially if you're married. You took a vow. I'm not going to relitigate that vow. I'm just saying it because somebody said Mo Ali will get married in the church next year. That's another topic for you and Mo Ali. You can have that conversation. But I'm going to say that I'll be here. That's how he got married in the church. But look, we got to talk about these things because if the Liberian family is going to survive, and this is a serious matter for me, and we're going to move on our culture and our traditions to our children and develop a proper Liberian family, the family unit has to stay together. Everybody got to play their part. And if you cannot be with me when we're catching it, I don't want to be with me when I'm drinking, when I'm eating ice cream, because you don't belong there. And that notion where, I hear some girls saying on social media, oh, if you cannot take care of all my need, all my money for me, I will just go get 2 gopa. You get 2 gopas. Now I found out you stay with your gopa. That one I'm crying. All right, everybody can move even. But you got to stick to the family. You got to suffer together. They got to suffer together. There's no brother day. There is nobody else out there. There's no tussle. No, I just saying something. When you go and say, oh, I want to do that. No, because at the end of the day, it's a family unit. The family unit is important, Patrick. I'm telling you, you got to keep it together. It doesn't mean this and that, but all that thing we're talking about, the discussion has to be here. In Liberia, we tend to put it in one side, and people say, oh, you keep my money, I keep my money. Put the money together and be responsible about it. It's an advice. It doesn't mean everything is perfect. Yeah, go ahead.
Let me say something. Send Ali Pape on your whole platform right now.
Yeah.
From what I know,
I ain't gonna detail about.
I'm the second papi tonight.
For what I know, our forefathers, our fathers in the 60s and in the 70s, probably in the 80s, their wives didn't really were not required to work. I mean, let's face it. You know, people look at, I mean, you let a woman work. You let a woman work. You would do it for your professional, but it wasn't that. It wasn't a requirement. All right. So, Liberian men, our fathers, for them, it was that responsibility that they had. You know, their family would look good, and they would do that sacrifice. It was not that expectation that on our responsibility now it become a 50-50. Now things have changed because there's a lot of Western American influence, because now a lot of you all live in the US, you got to put it together and all that kind of thing, you know, back and forth, you're required. But me, I know my responsibility to my wife, and we sit down, we tell, but I think about putting our money in the city account and all that kind of thing. I don't know how to do it. I don't know how to do it. But trust me, whatever we agree are supposed to do, that will be the first thing I will cut off. For some people, it might sound differently, but I'm a person of the old order. I saw my father live that way, you know. Yeah, so my mother always told my father, say, oh, I'm helping you with this. I'm helping you with this, because her understanding was not that it was part of her responsibility to be able to provide 50-50. There are a lot of things that she would do, you know, but to say one more in, why you not get, and we come put together. Most people here that have not traveled will see that differently. And I think that was the case.
I mean, it's a cultural thing. Honorable Damwe Ageli, it's a cultural thing. Anybody get anything else before we go to the first topic for tonight? Or anything? Blair, you're not married yet. Mo not married yet. Ibrahim, you're married, right?
Yes. I just want to.
Yes, I am. Yeah, go ahead. All the unmarried people that are coming for you.
No, I want to say something because I want to disagree. I want to disagree with.
Yes, Sando, finish quick. They will come to you.
I'm not spoken to the issue yet.
Yeah, go ahead, Sando.
Our leader, our teacher.
Since Ghana started dealing with Senator Connor, man, wearing glasses now.
This topic goes to the core of our social structure. And when you think about it, the reason why I'm not married, for the record, but the reason why most of the marriages are not holding is because of the mindset with which people enter into these marriages. And I think the ongoing argument now is something that we should all begin to consider, because, for example, marriage on our side of the world, like it or not, it favors the woman. There's a perception, there's a social order that sees the man as supposed to be the head of the family, to carry the burden of the family. And most of the people walk into the marriages hoping that the man will carry the Kenya. And eventually, if things go bad for you, you cannot carry that Kenya. The woman starts to follow friends, advice, look out there for somebody who will take care of her. And in the end, the marriage is broken. It's broken. You know, and every day, some of us see friends who were very young, they got married and they rushed into the court to get divorced. And some of them will even have divorce party because it would seem like if they say the marriage was a burden on them. But it all depends the mindset. The mindset, which is very important. If you enter the marriage and seeing your partner as somebody who is supposed to carry your Kenya, not as somebody who is to complement you, then there's a problem. And I think that mindset has greatly affected most of the relationship, not man to man, but man to woman relationship on our side of the world. And those who want to argue that, oh, the gender ministry misquoted the law, you don't have to have an opinion on everything in the country. People talking something, and the gender minister is being hailed out of a sort of, you come from the
Sando, Those who are even arguing the law are even cheating the law. We saw recently.
What kind of comment? What kind of comment is
The
that?
lot impose it. The lot impose it.
That's what
I must say this. Sorry. I must say this. Somebody, Clara Way, how I say, even in the home, our part.
I saw the comment. Let me find it real quick.
So I'm sorry. So that just show you what the mean person that provided the money. So it depends how big.
So, gentlemen, and we're gonna go to the first topic. I do Councilor Man just came in here, and Councilor Man is the only married man on the platform. Councilor Man,
he's not the only married
hey,
man.
Bob, man, South Point Martin. South Point Martin.
You get Mr. Nagwe, you get Patrick and talk. Now you can talk that kind of thing. Patrick there.
Patrick there. Oh, Patrick there.
Larma said there.
Larma there. Okay, tell your fool.
Yellow Johnson.
You are saying that there.
Hey, Bali,
La Yellow Johnson.
Yeah, I advertising the Johnson. Orange.
So before we go on, Councilor Man, I your own voice there smaller. With what the gender minister said, you know, when you cash in, it's going to go to the where we give you small when you buy a small beer.
You know,
if they're going out to come,
you know,
they're gonna post Gary.
Come on, I can score our show today.
So that's my show.
I know.
Y'all were gossiping about me?
No.
Let you go to the next topic. Let's go to the next topic, please.
Yeah, let you go to the next topic.
Yeah, well, that's good.
The audience will tell me what y'all were talking here, so I'll read.
For your audience, nobody will say anything about what we're talking about here. Go, the man should be giving all money. When you work, you should give your money to your husband, so you can hold it and get small thing.
That is y'all talking here.
No, what the gender minister said today. Your take on the gender minister. I don't know if you follow today in Liberia. Okay, so basically what she did say, well, let me post it on the screen for a second. And she made some sense. She said, listen, if you're married and you are a man and you are taking care of the home, doing everything when you lost your job and your wife married, and you're well working. What
she made some sense. She made all the sense.
Yeah, and she said, hey, your wife working now, your wife will be helping you too. There's nothing wrong with that. Now, people taking it out of context, of course. It should go without saying for me personally. If I lose my job and my wife working, she'll take care of the home. Or maybe some book called the American thing.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Is that her role as a gender minister? Is that her responsibility?
That way, it was my pay grade.
Wow, Lord.
Yes, it's part of that responsibility.
Yes,
it is part of that responsibility. It is.
Okay, because that's not my understanding of her role. But let me tell you something. How people handle their finances in their home is between them. I don't have any complaints about my husband taking care of the things he's supposed to take care of. The reason he does that is because that's how he was raised. And I do the things that I was raised to do. So when you choose your spouse, you do it based on your culture and what you believe in and how you believe things should be. And those are things that should be discussed before you form a union and start a family. Right? So my husband was raised by a man who's a provider, and that's all he knows. So he does the same thing. And I'm grateful for that, but that's what I wanted. I also have friends who they and their husbands keep their finances completely separate. They just married. She take care of her own thing. He take care of her own thing. They split bills in half. I'm not able with that kind of life. I just not. So I think the roles and responsibilities that people take on in their homes are more cultural. And I don't think that's something that I would like to impose the way that I live on somebody else. That's all I'm saying. And some people say, oh, you went to school, you educated, you up cooking for your husband. Yes, I'll cook for my husband. Because I don't even know how the bills in the house get paid. So I do what I'm supposed to do too. But how I was brought up,
and that's what I choose to do. A lot of sense.
That's why I was brought up, and that's what I choose to do. I'm not saying other women should do that, and I would never tell other women to do what I do. But does that mean I'm not a feminist? I'm not a womanist? That's not what it means. I also am an intellectual. My husband respects the fact that I like to read, and I'm a thinking person, and we have discussions as equals, and all of those kinds of things. So he doesn't suppress me, as an intellectual either. And I think that, but my point of just saying is that I didn't hear her speech or the full context of it. I just think it's an odd thing to impose on a society that has cultural differences.
It wasn't speech. It was a Facebook post.
Okay.
And it's important she follow up. Let me do this. Let's listen to her a little bit. Let she make a point again, very clear to the Liberian people to create a clarification that we need from her.
Any kid that was champion there.
It doesn't work because the law said it does not have earning. He doesn't earn income. When you say you doing side hustle, you got business, so you just sit down and say the woman will take care of you. We're talking about a man who has taken care of his family, and at some point life got bad, and the woman is working and she refused to take care of the children and the husband, of course, according to the law, that woman is under obligation to take care of the family. And then back to I'm quoting the domestic relations law, chapter 5.3E. So for the tax on the children.
So I get
and that's it. That's all she was saying. It's just like, when there is hardship. Okay. Thank you.
So look at it, people. Look at Samuel Kamara, your husband from Vi background. Yes, my husband Vi. It doesn't mean that other ethnic groups in Liberia don't behave that way. But what I'm saying is some of the things that attracted me to my husband is how responsible he is and how much of a provider and a leader he is. So we are attracted to what we want in a relationship. If you want a pretty boy that will sleep, in a house that he doesn't pay for, and that will eat, make you work and spend your money and want to dress more than how you dress and more than how you and your children dress. If you want bluff boy, that's your choice. If you want to sponsor a bluff boy, but you have to choose your partner based on what you want. And that's how you'll get you can't just choose partner because it's some kind of, it's a decision. You're starting a family. It's an irreversible decision. Divorce cannot undo the fact that you had children together. So you have to try to choose your partner based on what you respect in a person and what you expect, what you respect and what you expect. And that's it. You can't get with somebody that's doing different things and they get vexed. You marry a woman that can't cook, that only wants to bluff and buy red bottom shoes and designer bags. Then you get angry because you got sick and she left you for a different man. That's what you chose. If you want the kind of woman that's going to have your back if something happens to you, choose that kind of woman. Choose the woman that will be there for you if you get sick, if you lose your job, and all those kind of things. That's it.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Cole. Before we got the Supreme Court render.
30 seconds
go ahead.
before we go to the topic.
So he's asking me a question. Can I answer him really quick? King Davis, I'm not on Class Reloaded to discuss my personal business, but so far in the marriage, we're young. My husband has not been down financially in this marriage. He has made sure he's a provider. God forbid if something were to happen to him, I will step up. I will stick by him because of what he has done. So right now, I've not been put in the position.
So-called, that's exactly the point the gender minister made. She was clear in her statement. A responsible husband who has been taking care of the family, the wife, and the children. And it happens that, a hand goes down, he's not doing anything now, and the wife is in the position. If that wife is not helping or taking care of the family, that's where the law comes in. They say irresponsible husband because they get some husband there, they are far from being husband.
Yeah. I mean, that's true. That's all I had to say, but I'll leave the topic is
go ahead, Patrick, before we go to the topic.
So, I think this should be the first topic for two reasons. Number
It
one,
is already.
because it's the trending issue. It's a
You're not allowed to
trending
discuss it
issue on
first.
social media, even on the mainstream media.
Okay.
And number two is because the public is interested in this. I've gotten calls. JKB just called me to say why I can't open the line. The other person called me. People are calling.
Okay.
Unfortunately, call is the only female, but she made a comment here to say, if you want a bluff boy, you want a handsome boy, look. If a man is down at a particular point,
handsome. I'm being sarcastic.
No, wait. You are talking to Anto. If a man is down financially at any point in time in his life, that doesn't suggest that he's a handsome boy. And I think that's the perception, and we have to deal with this. That because somebody is down there, they're a pimp, they just there depending on the woman and all of that. What if the man loses his job?
I don't think I watch it, man.
What if he
I don't think I
but
watch
I
it.
understand. Let go
I don't
around
think I
the
watch
guys.
porn, man.
No,
I
they're
don't
not
think I
watching
watch
men
it.
now. Everybody knows that. But let
not
go
watching
around the
men.
horn. I think, Patrick, you're right. Let go around the horn one more time. Take some calls on this topic because it's trending, and you're absolutely right. But I'm going to get another angle. Sando, I'm going to come to you. I'm going to start on the bottom, Sando. Does a woman have any responsibility to the home with the exception of just becoming a woman, cooking, cleaning the home? Or there's something more to it? Sando. And let's take into consideration that there's a lot of on the show. Let's keep it short as much as we can. And we'll take some calls from the public because they too are interested. Sando, your take. On mute.
I do believe that the woman has a very significant role to play in the relationship. And that role doesn't just see her from being at the receiving end. She has a responsibility to be a companion, to share in the responsibility. Even though the man is the head of the family, she's not just there to receive. As the way men and women on our side of the world, and I'm limiting my conversation to the context of Liberia because I see out there a lot of battles I've been struck in the relationship. You go out with a girl, she wants to contribute to the way you pay the bills and everything. It doesn't happen in Liberia yet. In Liberia, when you ask a woman out, everything is supposed to be on you. You get married in Liberia, you are the ones who will pay the school fees, you pay the house rent, you even if you buy the cars for the family, you buy the gasoline for the car. The woman money is supposed to be for herself. I mean, that's just how it is. So I do believe the woman has a responsibility, and this conversation has to be highlighted in a way that people get to understand that marriage is not just about being a burden on your husband. You have a responsibility in the home, and I think many women on our side don't see it from that perspective.
Yeah, and Councilor Man, I'm going to say this. We're going to get a little bit deeper, so we're going to go ahead. We're going to do one round, then we'll go to the phone call. But Councilor Man, there is a tendency in Liberia where extended family members tend to burden a marriage and force that marriage to fail. Now, whether it's true or not, we'll speak to it. People can comment in the comment section. If I'm married to a girl, and next thing you know, I got to send her brother to school. I got to pay for my medical bill. We put a lot of burden on that marriage and we push that marriage to failure. Now, I understand a little Liberian context. You have to help extend the family. But does that put too much burden on the family? Or is the man just have to be man all around and just suck it up? Councilor Man.
To all the things, let me say good evening to everybody. In the first place, I think the minister was absolutely correct. I know that she's been getting some backlashes or reactions, especially for some female lawyers. But I think that it is mostly around, there's a growing, if you observe in Liberia, especially in Monrovia, there's a growing wave of this feminist movement, if I may put it that way. And you will be amazed, Dwalu, that in fact the extent of divorce and things, especially young people, young women, I think the people say they got divorce club and all, they can celebrate divorce and all that in these things. But I think the minister is absolutely correct. The law sets that, where the husband is incapable of supporting himself and the family, and the husband is likely to be a public charge, the wife has a duty and obligation to support. It doesn't even say if the wife is working. So it will assume that the wife probably has the means to support the family, the husband. It is her obligation. I know. I read from one of my colleagues who say no, incapacitated means the man must get stroke or this thing. No, being a public charge, if you lost your job, I mean, and there's no way you can get income. The next thing is that you don't want the person to, when they say public charge, you don't want the person to get on the street to start begging, become a public nuisance. You don't want the person to get into crime, criminal activities, because when he's arrested, he becomes a public charge. The government has to put him in jail and take care of him. So those are some things that people reason in the law. And so the facts and circumstances will always dictate what the law would say. But I don't think it's for nothing that is in the law. And as the minister says, if you're living with your husband, but primarily the husband has the responsibility to take care of the wife and the children. But the law says in a position now that it turns or it flips that the man is unable to do that. He's incapable of supporting even himself. Just imagine when it comes to a man supporting himself, he's not able to do that. Then, and it doesn't mean that you see the man being able to buy food to eat. No, the wife has that obligation. And what she's saying is that if you're living with your husband, and unfortunately he loses his job and sits there, I mean, it's your obligation to take care of him. That's right. And when you speak about the other issues of families, legally the law does not recognize all those kind of extended families. It also, in fact, in that same chapter 5, under that same provision of 5.3, it only gives you it gives the adults obligation to take care of your parents, aging parents, if they're also unable to do that. But it doesn't talk about, where you think that you married a woman, then her mom moving the house, then the pa moving the house, the sister auntie coming, the sister coming, the brother coming, and everybody talking in your marriage. That one is your own decision, that your own discussion. The law recognizes the man, the wife, the children. That is the family. All right. Of course, in Africa we have extended family system, but when the extended family tend to come and run your marriage for you, it is not in accordance with law. It may be now probably your tradition, or like some people will say, maybe the way you brought up. Maybe the woman comes, the man or your brother, then the family, man come in the house and making her like house girl, and she say, well, you gotta be submissive because in our tradition, you always gotta be submissive. I don't think that is being submissive. I think that's being disrespectful to the marriage, to the man's wife. So all those things, those one are culture and tradition that you were talking about. But legally, it is not part of the law. And no man, mother has the right to come and say, why you cooking to give my son today? Why my son food not tasting sweet? And then you're not married to your son. That's why your son and married to the woman. So that is not your business. And if the man won't listen to his mom rather than his wife, then the wife can leave. But all the culture things come into it. People or your family will be shamed. And let us not forget, we also have two marriage systems in Liberia, legally recognized. We have the statutory marriage system where you can only marry one wife, one husband, and that is it. And you have the traditional marriage where the man is entitled to marry as many wives as he wants.
Say again, one more time. Say again. I want clarity.
I said we should not forget in Liberia we have two.
No, the second one. I don't care about the first one.
The traditional marriage is where the man can marry as many wives as he wants if he is married traditionally. But the only
Councillor, Chief Justice Glorious Car stated that on the show here before.
No, but it's not jetted out.
But it has to be what? Padre, has to be what?
I remember we had this discussion before when Gloria Mususka came on the radio to say the same thing. But you have to start out with a traditional wedding first.
You get married to them, Patrick?
That's not true.
You can't get married to them.
So let me say what. Let me say what.
Wait. I mean, what? No.
Councilor Man was talking. Councilor Man feeling will come out there more.
Councilor Man is giving a monologue.
Patrick was misquoting the Omar. What the Omar said that night.
Wait now, you get Councilor Man another 30 seconds. Mo, that get Councilor Man another 30 seconds.
Let Paul talk. Maybe she knows what I'm talking about. She knows
Patrick, you're wrong.
Giving monologue.
1 minute, please. Dwalu.
Okay, Mo. Just take your own time. Take your own time.
What said that night, she said, many women in Liberia, they agreed to go into first, they say, traditional wedding. That marriage you go into, the first one that you go into, you say traditional wedding, that's the marriage. The other thing you go do now, that's celebration. And just like Councilor Man stated, she said it. She said when you do the statutory marriage, you can only marry one. But when you do the traditional marriage, you are entitled to as many as you want.
But that's the law. And the basic thing the senator was right. So Patrick misquoted because many of our people, you know what they do? They go do traditional marriage, then they finish, they come and do wedding. Okay. The law says the two marriages, the one you contract first, it is what is recognized by the law. The rest is the legal nullity, that waste of money, that waste of time. So if you go and do traditional marriage, and that is your official marriage, that man can go for another wife and another wife and another wife. If you like it, that's it. But a man can go for another wife, another wife, and another wife.
Let me just 1 minute. Are they, because I'm not sure certificates are issued after that traditional wedding.
The issue about the traditional marriage certificate is not the issue, is the direct payment. That is what constitutes the marriage. In the African tradition, it is the direct payment that the family now gave you the daughter, you pay the direct.
So
that is what constitutes the marriage. It's not a certificate. The certificate came later on just for people to have some document along the line. But that's not it. That's not it.
Traditionally, in our cultures, I just wanted to have to clarify this.
Yeah.
Because we're talking about culture and we're talking about custom and law.
Okay.
Traditionally, all traditional marriages are not polygamous. There are monogamous traditional marriages. This thing that we do in Liberia, where we generalize, like we all have one culture and it's a monolith, is wrong. Not all indigenous people are polygamous. Some are not. And some of our marriages.
Now.
Yeah, I just wanted to clarify the cultural part. I'm not contradicting Ambrose. I'm coming on the cultural part because it's too much of a blanketed statement. Many traditional people, before you even talk about polygamy, it is a status thing. And a lot of our culture has fallen apart where you see poor people that can barely feed themselves, collecting women and children around the place. That's not our culture. That's not our tradition. And so I just wanted to point that out for people who think that traditional people don't have standards for how and when you can even collect, say you having more than one household. It is something that comes with wealth and means traditionally.
That's right.
Today, that has all deteriorated where everybody, even the poor boy that's selling king juice on the road, is impregnating multiple girls and claiming that he's paying dowry for them. That is not what we're talking about. And that's not our culture.
Thank you so much, Blair. We're going to come to you, Blair. Let me ask you this question. We'll go to the phone line once we make the loop. Blair, let me ask you a question. You're married to somebody. Next thing you know, that woman has a lot of advisors. The man has a lot of advisors. In fact, the decisions being made in the family that should be between two people. You got so many advisors. It kind of breaks the marriage apart before it even takes off. What do we say to our people in the country for them to understand, especially for women? They will have the single women or the single friends advise them on how to treat a husband, but they didn't get a husband that's it. How do you speak to that, Blair?
I've been there before, and this is one of the reasons why I have a crack. And praise God, I'm a single man. For me.
The way he's single now, he enjoying his.
The thing here, Dwalu, is that you are married to a man, or you are married to a man. Okay.
You had a divorce party?
Why you think the show gotta go on? Go ahead, Blair.
You are married to a man as a woman. Your responsibility is to your man and your children if you people have kids. That's the first and foremost responsibility, because I, as a man, I feel that my first and foremost responsibility is to my wife and my kids. And that is why when I was in a union, I showed out the responsibility. Now, it is good also that sometimes the woman comes to church. Some of the women, they do it voluntarily, especially when they see that, like for me, then, I didn't have anything like restriction on my phone when it comes to apps and things. You could go through my phone and see the payments that I do. If you see how much I have paid and you want to assist, you can do it. But so many women, they listen to the mothers, the sisters, the brothers, or friends outside. Sometimes the marriage is going good when they begin to listen to people, then things begin to go wrong. And I think it is the wrong thing because, like for me, in my family, they know me that I have a principle that even if you have problem with my wife, it's not your duty to speak to her directly. You tell me, and I will know how to channel it. So people should know how to get into people's relationship. And sometimes when people tell you things, also you do not take it from just that stage without reviewing it to know how to process it before you can even go to your wife. Sometimes it's not just important to even just take it from outside and take it to your home, because at the end of the day, most of the people who have been down the line, like people like me, we see that those marriages did not survive. So the thing I can say to anybody here is that I think counseling, they have experts, okay? If things are going wrong, the best people to go to are those who went to school and learned this thing, or some of the elderly people in the society. But you see, for the women, most of them, they will go to the gossip people. And most of the women who are not, or the men who are not able to keep marriages, like myself, you come to me, what kind of good advice I will give you? I want to give you my experience. You understand? So that's the fact also. I can just advise anybody. It is good that when you are not satisfied, that what communication is key in every marriage or relationship. So when you are not satisfied,
Nelly, what kind of wicked comment is that? So sorry,
Go ahead,
Albert.
go ahead,
Yeah, your big sister Nelly.
Go ahead. You crossed the border.
No, that nene, that our business.
Let's go to Laraman. Let's go to Laraman. I won't follow.
Let me just conclude.
Yeah, conclude.
Communication is the most effective tool in any marriage or relationship. Once you are not satisfied about something, it is always good to communicate it with your partner. Nene, I went to East Africa, but we still get problem in our rent settings. So,
Larama, it's a simple question. It's a direct question, but the question is very loaded. Can marriages survive in Liberia today, given the conditions that we see in the country?
Larama, well, I think when you went to the court, there are a lot of divorce cases, and there are a number of factors that are contributing to that. It could be economics, it could be cultural. But like Sam was talking, in the 60s and 70s, people stay longer in relationships. People stay longer in marriages. When just opposed to the quote unquote modern era, I think a lot of things have changed. Even the mindset of our young women who are entering marriages, they are not there for the longevity of it anymore. They're there for the fame. Oh, my friend got married 2 years ago. You've been with me for 5 years, and you married me in 2 years. How my family people will see me. So I think there's a lot of social pressure on the institution of marriage, and I think people need to have proper conversation around this before even dive to enter into that institution, because it's sacred. It's sacred. It's guarded by our faith. It's guarded by the law, the statutory laws. I know Brother Mine was talking about the customary law and aspect of it, and how people can take on more than one wives. I think it's true, for those who want to practice it, but to a larger extent, we stick on to the statutory aspect of our civil union. But I like how the conversation have shifted from Minister Benjamin's statement to where we are now. And that shows that we have to have more of this social conversation. The law may be there, but our behavior and practices and tradition over time says that even in the midst of the law, there are things that are so important to individual citizens. And once we are having conversation around those problems and an obstacle, we can find solution as we move forward.
Yeah, and it's a fair point. MMZ, let me ask you this question. This is something everybody knows in Liberia. And I'm quoting the young women in the country. I'd rather be a side chick than be your wife, because men tend to take care of side chicks better. You think that's a fair statement they're willing to marry someday? And I'm going to say this, women, you're going to hate me for this, but my head, I'm paying anybody more. A woman has a window. The window is between 16, maybe I'll push it to 30 years old. After 30 years old,
I'm sorry.
There's a window. I will come to you,
I ain't hear you, right? I'm confused. Please repeat what you, because I'm not hearing you, I swear.
A woman has a window to get married. It doesn't mean you cannot get married beyond the point, but your best time to get married is between this age of 16 and 30 years old. I'm not saying 16, but for our sake, let's say 18 and 30 years old. If you take your most valuable year, you play with it, you say, I'd rather be side chick. Then you turn 40-year-old, you go to Mother Dukley Church, you start praying for husband. They probably better take the miniatures.
That's what are you
saying? When we get to you, you will answer your own. Let me come to you. The girls in the country say, I'd rather be your side chick than be your wife. How do we understand this in Liberia?
A few girls. Y'all stop generalizing.
Yeah, but go get away with it. No, we're not denigrating anybody. This is what happens in society.
Who said many denigrating things about men here? And nobody.
It's not to me. It's not denigrating at all. Let Abraham answer. Cole will come to you. Cole will come to you. This is the truth. Cole will come to you. Abraham, the girls that can say, I'd rather be a side chick than be your wife, because side chick get more benefit than wife. But then later on, they want to be wife. How do we speak to these young women? Say, this is not the right way to go. You have to, your body is not for commercial reason. It has to be used properly. It has to be used in the confines of one man, one woman to build a family. Side chick is not the way to go. How do we address this?
Donald, thank you. Let me say good evening to all of the panelists, and including our viewers. The issue that has to do with side chick, I'm strongly opposed to that, because being a side chick, you are using yourself. You are definitely using yourself. You are using yourself before the day, before the time. So I would definitely disagree with whosoever that makes such a statement. I would definitely disagree with you on that.
Well, you've heard it before, right?
On that, yeah, I've heard it before, but okay. But the issue here is that look, marriage is for people that are ready. Men that are ready. Those are men that go into marriage. Marriage is not for boys
or girls or little children. Period.
So if you go use yourself, and that is the reason. That is the reason why in our society today you having more women praying for miracle to happen overnight. You having most of our ladies praying now for miracle for husband. At the time they were in their young age, they did not pray for them to be able to keep one man. They were jumping here and there. Now time have now caught up with them. They want now for miracle to happen overnight. And this is just a strong advice to our sisters. It is better for you to be able to keep yourself. Tough time does not last, but tough people last.
That's right.
So if you mad because of your situation today, and you're going to go sell yourself, or you're going to go get guapa, when your guapa go to go swear a mojo, I'm sorry.
So Dwalu, there are 9 men on this platform and 1 woman.
Okay, so let's come to Cole.
No, let me finish. I'm not going to allow this. You're not going to allow 9 men to speak before I speak each time, because I'm representing women on this platform. This is first of all.
No, you have 9 minutes.
I want for her to learn. I want to say what you say. I want for her to learn. I'll respond to Cole.
We're not doing male and female representation.
No, we are.
It was just a circle.
The topic. And at this point, we're getting to
it
the
is not male and
point where
female battle.
there's some
Well,
disrespect.
I want to try as a girl, so I also want to
There
get women.
is some disrespect happening that I'm going to address.
Yeah, but what disrespect? That get to you, Cole. We get to you.
If you allow me to, I will.
No, but we cannot jump. We cannot jump, Cole. I understand. You are used. No. I am the host. Let me go in the sequence. Let me go in the sequence. You cannot address something.
I'm going to address this.
Yeah, you will address it when we get to you, Cole. We address it when we get to you.
Can we allow her to go ahead?
But you will address it without getting the full context.
I yield my space to her.
Okay, you your space to her. Okay, you your space to her, then we can come to her. Cole, let's come to you so you can address it.
Disrupt the show. Y'all will not let it happen.
Go ahead and address it.
Because Cole always does it. Cole always interrupt people. No, Cole,
y'all got girls, y'all got daughters.
No,
yeah, but
when others are speaking, when others are speaking, you always interrupt. When you are speaking,
that's somebody saying it, Cole.
It doesn't mean that we agree with you.
Are doing the same thing.
It doesn't mean
we agree with you. Specific.
No.
The young people are sleeping around in like both boys and girls. You will not be talking about little girls on this platform.
No, it's not just little girls, Cole. It's not just little girls.
Because these little boys and the little girls are...
Okay, let's give you the time now, Cole. Let's do it all on it. Let's give you the time. Cole, let's do it all on it. For the sake of the audience, let's give you the time. We are not just talking about little girls. We're talking about both.
Say that when Cole is speaking, everybody gives her time. Nobody interrupts, but Cole always interjects when she doesn't like what somebody is saying.
That's true.
Right.
I do that.
It is not right. No, it is not right. It is not only on this matter. It is not right. On any matter that you don't agree with, you always interject into people something. You don't do that.
It's true. I do it.
It's not right. But Cole, let's for the sake of this gender thing, Lord, because we want the show to go for the sake of the gender thing, we'll give it to you. But I want you to not state this, which is not true, Cole. It is not about girls, it's about boys and girls. But that comment, I'll give it to you. I'll give it to you. I'll give it to you.
The promiscuity and the sexual freedom, I'll call it, that the young people in the society, in every society, are expressing with this young generation is not unique to girls. And it's not worse because it's girls. The little boys themselves are slanging themselves around similarly. The culture is becoming more sexualized and people lack sexual discipline in the society generally. But to narrow this and put the blame on the girls as if they're sleeping with themselves, as if this intercourse is not happening with little boys and even sometimes older men who are also indisciplined and sexually promiscuous. But to sit on a panel with 9 men and only focus on the fact that little girls, 16 years old, as you said, Dwalu, should be responsible for sexual behavior that 60-year-old men have not mastered their responsibility in sexual behavior. You've got women who have been in powerful positions in that country that have not mastered sexual discipline in their sexuality, that are promiscuous and sleeping with BM boys and stuff. But you want to put a burden on 16, 18-year-old girls? Really? So when we're talking about these things,
I think you're missing the point.
She missed the point, but then she thought, I want you to You missed the point. You missed the point, Paul.
One of you are speaking of girls.
You missed the point entirely, but go ahead.
Speak about boys and what the boys are doing.
You missed the point.
Talk about the boys that are raping girls. Why don't you talk about boys too? Talk about boys as well. The rapists.
Yeah, but that was not the question. The question is going in sequence. But you only heard one question that you are angry. Are you done? Are you done, Cole? We gotta go around the horn. Are you done?
Talk about what men do also.
Of course.
Just give me 1 minute, please.
So with no Lama, I will come to you in a second. I won't make sure Cole is done because I don't want to listen. I'll come to you. Okay. I will come to you. This is important because Cole stated something that are entirely erroneous and she knows it. Okay. The issue here is not putting blame on girl. We talk about men here. In fact, you were not in the beginning when I came here and I played a video that the prostitution rate in the country continues to increase. Even 16-year-old girls in the country. The government should start first and foremost targeting the men and start focusing on these young girls. You were not here to begin with. This is a bit. Listen, Cole. You gotta allow people to finish their thought. You're not the only person that have the insight to what people want to talk about. If we cannot lay our premise, we cannot go ahead. This is not fair. Larama, I'm going to have you come here. I'm not going to lay the premise. I'm not going to make any correction because Cole will not allow the fact. It is not just about girl. That's what I want to take from there. Go ahead, Larama. Before I go to Honorable Nango.
Entirely missing the point. Yeah, I said
Of course
Cole is
she's missing the
entirely
point.
missing the point.
Yeah.
Don't me. I'm not
Conversation
I'm
is
coming.
not
I'm coming
boys-
up there. I'm coming. Go ahead, Larama.
The conversation is not boys versus girls, men versus women. We know that our society, for many reasons, have gone through some social decadences.
You know, God can really
But let's
enjoy
face
that
it.
disrupting us, eh?
Yeah, but let's face it, Cole. The statement made by Tuaru is a common thing that we hear every time in our society. And it has no alignment to age. 16-year-old saying it, 25-year-old women saying it, 31-year-old women saying it. And to me, to a larger extent, it's because most of these women are looking for help. They are looking for destiny helper, right? So they will say things like, I prefer to be a side chick. Now, what do we do to change the course of event for most of our Liberian women? I think that's the fundamental question. And that is more important than showing blame why men are doing this. In fact, if the men stop, we society, especially for a patriotic society, a male-dominant society, it's difficult. So some of the efforts that you're already carrying out, go like this mentorship program. We need to expand on this kind of program, right? Take it back to schools. Let's help our young ladies to gain that level of consciousness when they are in high school before even graduating, because that to a larger extent helps. Along with people are carried by peer pressure all around here. We see it. One girl going to a boyfriend, she takes her friend along. That boyfriend got friend, she tag along with the friend, and that's common in our society. So we need mentorship programs that start from the root, from high schools to college. Use girls as peer mentors. When I was in the U.S., when I was in Pennsylvania, they had this program called Direct Mentorship Program, where people who came from the rock bottom of society and rose to the top and doing well in their career go back into the very community they come from. Like, let's say you come from West Point or Booster Court or Sonnywen, you go right back into that society and use yourself as a case study and inspiration for young girls that are coming up. This kind of program will help to change the minds and attitude within our society and not blaming each other.
Thank you. Mano Number will come up to you. I'm going to say this, though, and I maintain this. The proper age for a woman to make sure she take care of herself to find a husband is between the age of 18 and 30 years old. That's your prime years. You don't throw those years away. You don't become somebody's side chick. Mr. Number, let me ask you this question. Our society has so geared towards when a man gets small money, it is okay in our society for him to have as many girls as he wants to, even younger girls. And then he denied those girls the opportunity to find their own proper husbands. And then later on, we will be the same people calling them hobojo. What responsibility should these men be bearing in our society if we want to take it from that angle as well, Mr. Nambe?
So, you got to put it in, and there's nothing new.
Yeah.
This thing you're discussing, whether it's side chick or our days they call godpa, goddaughter, it's nothing new. It has always been around. Except, as time goes by, you got different characterization in terms of what nomenclature you place on that. Growing up, you always heard people say, oh, that my godpa. Huh? So now people are a little bit brave. They will say that my boyfriend and my chick and all that kind of thing. But it was always like that. And that's one reason, like that the brother just said. It's all about the economics. I mean, if someone has the means to be able to take care of themselves, including school, medicals, and all of their social needs, the likelihood for them putting themselves in this kind of situation will be slim. Okay? So there has to be a way in terms of how these needs are provided for. So you see a girl probably age 18, 19, 20 now has a bigger responsibility to take care of the entire family. And we can't dodge that. This is happening today, so they prematurely become breadwinners. Okay? And probably before it will be something that will be hidden. Now it's open. The guy drives to the girl's house and he almost become like a big provider for them. But the bottom line is this is the way our society has come to give it the poverty level. So people that can afford that have the means, they leverage, their position and do these kinds of things. But it's for me, it's not new. Like I said, now it's side chick. Before it was you have goddaughter, godpa, whatever that meant, and you can go backwards. It's nothing new, but it's just the situation where affording elderly men, use their resources to be able to get this desire, but in the process, reach out to some of these young people in getting that. So nothing new here.
Yeah, let's save the state. And that's the last question. Mo will come to you so you can close out on this topic. Somebody mentioned one time I was in Liberia, they said, Mr. Dwalu, the day they go party in Benin, start AMB Zion will close down. United Methodist will close down. If you stop go part Benin, most of the school now will close down because the girls will not get tuition to go to school. Mo, how do we respond to that? They're tough talking topics, but we got to talk about them. So with AMB Zion University closed down, they go back Benin style like bro. Mo, I don't hear me. But then on mute.
I said I wasn't hearing you. Go
ACU, I'll let you. Okay. The talk in the time is a Goba Benin stop in Liberia. AMB Zion will close down, UNU will close down. Because all they get in UNU, AMB Zion, so like Goba paying the school fee. And sometimes we trivialize these things, but that's one of the things that happen in the country.
So first of all, I don't subscribe to those statements. I don't think somebody has to be a GOPA before you can help. I don't think somebody has to be anything before you can help. For example, the position I sit in, I pay a lot of school fees from elementary straight to college. To the extent that I told my colleagues today in the senior management team, I think I've exhausted my capacity to pay school fees now from my pocket. So when the request come now, we're going to take it from our social corporate responsibility, which is illegal. I mean,
I expected they coming. Go ahead, man. So the comment were going to come, but I expected it, but don't just overload the comment. You go ahead.
So definitely people can help. If you are GOPA and you decide to, if you decide to be GOPA, then you must play the role of the GOPA. You should take the responsibility. But then again, we are in a society where the society is getting uneven in terms of the ratio of men to women. Maybe it's a little slightly above the women, the men, maybe 49 point something percent women and 50 point something percent men. And somebody did an analysis. Why people argue against the polygamism and all this kind of stuff. I subscribe to polygamism.
So Ali, you say men more? You say men more?
He meant the reverse. Women are more.
No. There are a little bit more. You have like 49 point something percent women and 50 point something percent men. Yeah. But
who gave you that
for the most part in the cities, like the stats I have from the 2022 data, for the most part in the cities, like if you go to Bikana, Kakata, Banga, all those places, you have slightly more women than men generally. Right. Now, somebody made an analysis. The guy said, if people argue there should be no GOPA, no side chick, there will be women left over who will not get men. Because number one, the serious men, they're not too many. You get plenty of serious men and some of them not serious men. You get some men in jail. You get some men who have become Zogo, criminals, and everything. Already the ratio is almost 50-50. You don't see many women in the bad things that men are in. You don't see credit to them. You don't see women in criminality much. That is a fact. When you go to the prison compounds, you check the prison compounds everywhere. There are more, maybe the ratio is even 90 to 10. You see more men than women in prison. For the large part in society, women are not noted for being in the bad things that men are in. Like, for example, even when you're checking about those who are addicted to drugs, you find few women, the majority of them, more than 95% are men.
That's right.
Those ones will become wasted in society unless there is a deliberate effort to rehabilitate them. And like last Saturday, I went to where the Ministry of Youth and Sports is rehabilitating the guys. I saw them when I entered. I was asking the Fanso, but where are the guys? And the Fanso said they're all there. Well, handsome young men with muscles and everything. So the idea about copper, paying school fees and all that kind of stuff, I am not going to speak against it, but it's good for people to take responsibility for other people.
Thank you, Mo. And before we go, because we know we have a verdict that came down from the Supreme Court today, but I thought it was fitting to incorporate this to drive the point home. Let's watch about 1 minute of this before.
But you Daniel haven't spoken on the program.
No, Daniel did speak. Mr. Sano did speak. 1 second, let me put this up.
So I would just play listening road tonight.
What I'm seeing here is almost unbelievable. This is the largest intact rainforest in West Africa, and these pink dots are alarming. They're deforestation alerts from satellites. This part of Liberia is losing huge chunks of its forest, and it's happening fast. I have no idea what's going on here, but I guess we gotta go find out for ourselves. I met up with James, a Liberian environmental journalist. He's taking me to Grand Jide. It's one of Liberia's deforestation hotspots, and James tells me why.
Grand Jide is crazy for cocoa. I mean, you find it with common people in the community, you find it with people in government, you find it with people outside of the county.
Chocolate. The price of cocoa beans
is going up as bad weather and disease outbreaks hit the market.
They call it what, the brown gold, and everybody is in search of it.
James and I head into the rainforest to get a closer look at what's happening. Our first stop is the Kwa National Forest, a soon-to-be national park that's full of endangered wildlife.
Right there. Hopefully, one of my Nanaga were here, but he's not here. And I know, Councilor Man, you always love to talk about these things about our rainforest. And we know the verdict came down. The deforestation, especially in a place like Grand Jide County, killing wildlife there, the mini hippo, elephants, everything is being destroyed. If you go on in the video, it shows you what's happening in that location. And I just want to put the verdict on the screen that came down today from the Supreme Court. Guys, could we mute, please, if you can? If you're not speaking, please mute. So the Supreme Court came down with this verdict today, mostly from the the Forestry Authority. Some of these guys are going to jail for a year, up to $10,000 repayment to the government. Here's the question, Councilor Man. Let me start with you though. When it comes to places like the forestry, nobody pays attention to it. I'm glad for this verdict that people that are taking advantage of the system, there will be some consequence to their action. But we are losing our forest. Number one, we are losing a lot more and not a lot of attention being paid to it. Now, this verdict will bring some attention to this. At least the people that are taking over now will realize people are paying attention. But what do you say to this massive deforestation that's going on? Something we already know. Hopefully, Honorable Nanaga was here to explain further. Councilor Ma.
Well, Dwalu, we didn't get the time, but this was something that I wanted to ask. Since we spoke about it constantly on the show, and that's something I'm passionate about. Yeah. But I realized since the president set up a task force, because I don't think this particular case is linked to what is happening in Liberia currently.
Right.
I know this FDA case has been something about corruption and something else that has happened at FDA under President Sirleaf's administration. So that's a different case. But what that journalist is talking about right now, and what that environmental journalist has always been speaking of and writing, is the illegal mining that's going on because they are cutting down the forest.
That's right.
They are doing a lot of illegal mining in Grand Chile, other parts, River G, Grand Crew, Bapolu, Sino, and that is what is happening. And we have spoken about this, and the president set up a task force, which made us happy. The only thing I wanted to ask is that since the president set up the task force, we have heard nothing again.
Yeah.
Even just before the task force was set up, the Minister of Mines and Energy personally started to go out in the fields with the EPA guys, and they started to arrest equipment, arrest Chinese people, arrest equipment. Then the president took it up to a task force headed by Mr. A.B. Krumah. What has happened since then? And I don't think by the setting of the task force, automatically all that thing have disappeared. I'm sure it's still happening. So we need to find out what is happening. What has the task force done since it was set up? All right, because that is what is happening, and we are destroying our rainforests. You see, for people's greed, and that's why I said yesterday when we were closing that. Look at what happened in Nepal. Yeah. Look at what happens around. Look, sometimes when I say that Liberia is so blessed, yes, we do have rainfalls. Yes, sometimes we see the flood, people walking in the home, the water stopped to the waist. But I can tell you the floods that we see in other countries, we don't see it in Liberia.
That's right.
The kind of heat and wildfire that we see in countries, we don't see it in Liberia. And like I said yesterday, our wetlands, the swamp and things that people are filling in. Now the forest is what people are destroying. Not only that, they are destroying the water bodies. They are destroying the land. Because after they leave there, nobody can plant anything in the soil. The water is being destroyed. I understand that Ghana probably very soon, if they're not careful, they will start to import drinking water.
Drinking water, yeah.
Import drinking water.
Actually, I read an article about
because
that.
The water is getting, the cyanide and the mercury is permeating the water table and it's spreading. Right. So it's not necessarily in the exact location, but it's spreading now in the water table. And we don't even have that kind of resource. We're talking about country like Ghana that the budget is almost 60 to 80 or 100 billion dollars. We're talking about just reaching $1 billion mark for the first time in our country. All right. If water and sewer cannot provide clean drinking water, and people start having all these issues, and people will start borning children with all these kind of 4-3 fingers, I see people will say that witchcraft. It is not witchcraft. It is what is happening to our water bodies. And since that task force was set up, I don't know what has happened. And I hope that we can find out what is going on. But that is what is happening. You see, they got the new satellites and this drone. Right. They can detect these kinds of things. Now they see how the forest is fast depleting. And it's all about illegal mining. It is nothing else.
Thank you.
That's what's happening there.
And Cole, let me come up to you. I know you've spoken about this stuff in the past. I know sometimes, but people, we always find a scapegoat. And I hate when people try to blame the Burkinabes in the Jita forest. It's not them. It is the local people that are allowing them to do whatever deforestation is happening. Everybody wants to plant cocoa because they say cocoa get quick money. But what they don't realize is the livelihood that has existed in our region for generations is being destroyed. How do we speak to them directly and say, listen, if we don't address this, the ramifications are huge.
Cocoa has destroyed Ghana and Ivory Coast. And this is why when we keep, our agriculture minister keeps talking about bringing cocoa to Liberia, cocoa farmers, the people who work on cocoa plantations are labor intensive. The people who do the labor are suffering in West Africa. If we look at other countries, the average person working in cocoa plantations is akin to slavery. For the producers, the big owners of the farms to make money, they literally have to, I won't use the word slavery, but they have to exploit the workers in order for them to cut a profit. And the fact that we as Liberians and Africans generally, we can do without chocolate. It's not our obsession. We're doing it for a foreign consumer market, and we don't even produce the final product. We're doing a cash crop that other cultures enjoy, that we pay for with our sweat and with our environment for their enjoyment, for their benefit. The benefit of cocoa in West Africa compared to what they make they benefit in Switzerland and other countries that produce chocolate, there's no comparison. In Pennsylvania, you've got Hershey. They get cocoa from Ghana. They source cocoa from all over the world. They will not grow cocoa here in the United States. They will not grow even rubber. So the cash crops that we use in West Africa that destroy our environment, we get pennies on the dollar, and they profit massively from these things. We have to talk about that as we talk about, we're going to get into cocoa. There's cocoa is black gold. Black gold for who?
For who?
Not the people who are picking the cocoa, not the people who are suffering in the rainforest trying to grow the cocoa. That's the first thing. The second thing is most of that deforestation, the cocoa plantations are coming in after our trees are being sold. FDA needs to tell us why they're selling our forests. They're selling trees that sometimes are 200-300 years old. Some of these trees have more value left intact than they do cut down and sold for wood. Who the regulator for FDA is a forester. He's a person who has a background in forestry, in logging, I should say specifically. So you're a logger, now you are regulating the logging industry. And time without numbers, Dwalu, we have asked for this man to come on this platform and explain to us what is happening to our rainforest. It takes one white man to come on the platform, on his thing and say, oh, the forests are disappearing rapidly. And they're blaming cocoa. It's not cocoa alone. They're selling our logs. It's logging primarily that's destroying this. You're seeing elephants in towns in Nimba County that have never gone to towns because the forests have always been where they live. They're cutting down the trees, so they're walking into people's towns because they got nowhere to go. And people are like, oh, look, elephants are here. Elephants have always been there. They just have not had to enter where human beings are. So these are things we need to address. I'm personally I'm passionate about it. You talked about the pygmy hippopotamuses, the lack of monitoring and surveillance of our rainforest is absolutely a disgrace, especially with the technology that we have available to us, drone technology, satellite technology. There's no reason. If that man can sit in America on his computer and see the deforestation, why are we, the government, why is our government not doing it? Why is FDA not monitoring it? Why is this guy on his computer? If I can sit in America and overlook what's happening at Bee Mountain, and I can see what's happening in Sapo, and I can see it from right here in Georgia, why is our government not utilizing technology to monitor the rainforest? It's infuriating, actually, Dwalu.
It is. And Brother Sando, let me come downstairs to you. Let me ask you this question though. It is easy for you and myself to sit in Monrovia and think we are far removed from what is happening in our rainforest, especially in places like Sano, Grand Jita, and we think we are removed from it. Do you think we are? I know we are not, but how do we let our people know that we are intertwined? Just because it's happening in Grand Jita, it doesn't mean it's going to affect what happened in Monrovia. Minister Sando.
It will be foolhardy for anybody to think that because you live in urban area and so you are therefore removed or detached from the natural disaster that comes with deforestation. We now live in an era where global warming has taken the center stage of international conversation, and I think how we manage our natural reserve must be a concern to all of us, because like previous speakers said before me, the kind of flooding that we see happening in other countries, what happened recently in Ghana, so terrible. Liberia will experience same if care is not taken.
Yeah.
So we're not detached from it. News of infiltration within the Sapo National Park. People started mining the park and everything. They had to take the AFL to go there to remove them. Today, the Sapo National Park is free for that invasion. I think it was good, but we need to move beyond that. What is happening in Bapolo County, in Grand Cape Mount, in Bomi, and across the country with this illegal mining is very disturbing. Very disturbing. Yeah. And I think the Minister of Mines himself was on a tour the other day. With this committee the president set up, I spoke with Colonel Ibi Kuman last week. He gave me some narrative on what they're going to do, which they work for. First, they wanted to get all of the sectors concerned to be in tight with their SOP before moving in, and I think they succeeded in doing that now. But I mean, the president is not taking it lightly. The government is not taking it lightly because somebody just come to Monrovia. You have many Liberians who are fronting for these Chinese people to get Class B mining license. The next thing they go
take up the earth
in the rural area. They're not even doing it manually. They're using excavator, destroying all of the water system. And, you know, so yes, we can set him over and say we are far detached from the disaster because this is an era of global warming. I mean,
thank you. Another thing, honorable number. Another thing that I've noticed, and our calculation, this is going ready to the top of our investment portfolio in terms of what the Liberian Diaspora Equity Fund is going to do. We know part of this deforestation is due to coal, the charcoal that we use in the country. So we are looking now to probably build a massive furnace in the country. Our budget right now shows around $150,000 that we have to invest and bring the machinery in to take all the garbage around Monrovia and actually make the charcoal in Monrovia to reduce the amount of trees that are being cut in the countryside. Because everybody's still using coal. We have septic tanks in the country that we can use gas to cook food. One of the things most of West Africa have done, they're using the propane or the methane gas and they're putting it in those, the propane tank. I don't know what they call it in Liberia. They put it in the propane tank. People use it to cook, but we're not using that to cook. We are still using the charcoal. That too is also contributing to the fast deforestation you see happening in our forest. Everybody making coal. If you go on Canada Highway right now, you will get maybe 50 pickers every single day hauling coal. That's trees. It's a number.
So the government is paying attention to it.
Okay.
And so cooking sources, energy for cooking is something that we are in the renewable energy sector are also concerned of. So in the Liberian Energy Compact, this is a document, a commitment by the government in terms of how they will provide electricity to up to about 100,000 homes per year. And part of that process has also committed up to about 200,000 means of clean cooking. Now, clean cooking literally is deploying renewable energy sources, for cooking. And this could come from LNP gas, like you mentioned, or cook stoves that utilize minimal charcoal or wood, and all those kinds of things. But clearly, if left uncontrolled, it impacts our environment a lot. We may not see the immediate impact that is happening in other countries because Liberia is heavily forested, and then the impact that, in fact, whatever we do, we are having on our environment in terms of gas emission is quite limited. But we are in a very good position to be able to take steps to avert this calamity. So what happens in our forest affects all of us potentially. And that's why we have to take care in terms of what kind of means we deploy, either for cooking or for our electricity sources, those kinds of things. A good percentage of our population, yes, will rely on, especially in urban areas, rely on charcoal. Rely on charcoal. Most of them are coming from either felling rubber trees, but there are other places that you go, they are just cutting down and burning. So that's the main source for that. But there's the economics of it, and then what else can we do? And this is why we have to find money to be able to provide alternative means for cooking for people. Gradually, to some level, most homes now you go to in Monrovia, not as high as those that rely on charcoal, but there are gas, quote unquote, gas stoves that rely on gas for their cooking in a minimal way. But it's equally true that the bulk of them are relying on charcoal. So it's going to affect what we do. And we have responsibility to our forests.
Director Janssen, what responsibility do we have as citizens to actually try, not just to curtail, but hopefully to reverse the deforestation we see in the country. Personally, for me, I think one of the major things is, like, if we had $1 million, we can really ramp up this process to produce the charcoal right in Monrovia. We got enough garbage in the city right now to produce the charcoal. We've made a decision that we'll put the first $150,000 and build the first plant on an industrial scale. It's not big, but something that can produce 3,000-4,000 bags of coal every day. Locally with the trash in Monrovia, and hopefully we'll start that to come in next year. La Brenda Diaspora Equity Fund will start that. But I believe we need something else to make it bigger to stop this, because if we don't stop this, the rain will get heavier. Mr. Jackson just posted that in Grand Cayman County back in the day, it rained so heavy that the people there were confused. And that was due to the way we treated the environment, Mr. Johnson.
So I just want to say something to Wally. He's a minister, he's not a director.
Oh, he's a minister. Oh, my
Yes,
apologies.
he's deputy minister of business sports.
Okay, Derek, Minister, go ahead. Thank you.
Thank you, Cole. So, Dwalu, I think there's very little that private citizens can do, because they are the one that, to a larger extent, have been affected. The Supreme Court ruling today was not just about the economic sabotage and other things. It was basically about people who are in positions of trust misusing those positions by issuing what they call the private use permit. So there's this PUP that if a company wants to come either to do logging business or whatever, they have to go to the FDA and obtain that private use permit. Now, if they are doing it on a large scale, that means you cannot go to smallholder farmers and the private ownership of land and cover that permit. That permit cannot cover it, right? And so the FDA issued that PUP on a massive scale that affected a lot of our small farmers. And so when the case went to court, the lower court ruled in favor of the prosecution, the government, and then they took it to the Supreme Court, and that's how the Supreme Court ruled, affirming that decision. Now, what is Liberia guided by? What are some of the regulations that we are guided by? The European Union, to a larger extent, have played a significant role in helping to regulate our forest industry. And there are a couple of key commodities that they look at. Besides the timber, they look at cocoa, they look at the cattle, they look at rubber, and all of that, right? So they say to you, follow this set of guidelines and regulations before you export to European markets. And these things are export. Take, for example, cocoa beans. We use cocoa beans to a larger extent for chocolate companies in Europe and other places. So if they want to make that, they have to follow those rules. But our people, government officials, people in position of trust, are the very ones that are abusing this. So we have to start from there to uphold the laws and regulation that governs this entire sector, so that we are not continuously seeing forest degradation all around the place, because it's affecting the communities. So yes, the short answer to your question is that we must uphold the existing laws and the existing regulations that are governing the sector first, if we think about citizens' contribution to mitigating the situation.
Yeah, I agree, brother. Abraham, let me come to you, Lisa. And my sister Yama Thompson. We don't have to visit every home. If we do a random sampling, let's say sampling of 5,000 people, and out of the 5,000 people, if 52% say I use charcoal in my house, we can assume that most people use charcoal in the house. So we don't have to sample everybody in the country to know that. Abraham, let me ask you this question. Again, this is your question. I agree with the minister that we have to first enforce the regulation governing the sector. And number two, I believe we still can do more as private citizens across the country if we push a different narrative on how we cut down our trees and whether we push the government to come up with new policies to kind of minimize or at least halt to some extent the deforestation we see across the country. Abraham, what can we do?
Yeah, Donald, I think this issue that has to do with deforestation I think the FDA had a more robust. The FDA need to take a robust decisions and drastic actions against those company, those illegal company that are just cutting our trees for logging purposes. Let's take for example, Eduardo, if you were to go in Grandide or if you were to go to Sino, for example, our forests are gone.
Yeah.
So do the citizens themselves is to be blamed? I would say no. The FDA need to buckle their belts and be able to take drastic actions against those companies, those individuals that are carrying on illegal mining activities, the illegal logging activities into our country. Like we saw in Ghana a few weeks ago. The fraud. Like, bro, we are not far from that. If care is not taken. So I strongly believe that the FDA need to do more than any other entity here that we are talking about. The FDA need to buckle up their belt for them to be able to send their agents, not just in one county, but in all the surrounding counties, all the surrounding counties in our country. Because if care is not taken, then very soon we'll be left with no trees, and then the heavy rain, like one of the panelists was saying, in Grand Cape Makande. So let us be able to encourage the FDA for them to be able to do their job. These guys, they are not working. They are not working enough. And this is one of my greed when it comes to the deforestation into our country. Because if the president appointed you for you to be able to serve as a minister, and then you are on your gavel, you are seeing our tree have been wiped away. Our tree have been wiped away without any investments, without any detailed explanations, without any logical reasons. Then I see no reason that the president should be able to keep you. So I am just encouraging all of our ministers, including the FDA directors, for them to be able to buckle up their belt, for them to be able to take this thing here at a very, very important step. Thank you.
Thank you, Abraham. Larma, I'll give you 30 seconds before I go up to more. But Larma, when you're speaking, please include there for me. I've heard people say, but that be hello bougie can fini. Go ahead.
So Tualu, so the land rights, the land rights law have already done bulk of the work for FDA. The last time we were there is an existing partnership that we're trying to engender with the FDA, and we're asking the managing director. He said before the FDA used to be seen and viewed as a SOE, right, a state-owned enterprise, but today, because of the land rights law, because of the European Union deforestation regulation, the FDA hands are tied, right? So even employees within the employ of FDA now are on the CSA payroll. That's how dry it is.
Wow.
Now, there is a provision, as clearly articulated in the Land Rights Act, that brings in the community. So before any land or before a log that belongs to a private owner is sold to a foreign company, the community have to be involved. So if the community says no, that permit cannot be issued. And so the existing laws are on the book. The FDA hands are already tied by measure of the fact that long before 2000, before the coming into being of the EU regulation, And long before the coming the being of the Land Rights Act, which is very recent, I think 2018, the FDA was not guided by any form of laws or regulation, and thereby just setting laws. So part of what the community can also do is to
Larama is frozen. Mo, before we go to the phone lines, Harris, if you're in the back, start making preparation. Mo, you're going to close up on this. This was not just begun on this administration; it's always happened. And I love what President Baka continues to do. In fact, today there was another meeting held by cabinet ministers where they are scrutinizing literally every single agency across the country. I think today was mostly on procurement. I just want to be sure here on public procurement rules. The president wants to make sure there's straight adherence to that. For a long time, nobody monitors what any agency does. Alarma, you back? Finish your thought before we go to more.
Yeah, so yeah, on the last point, I said the community can get involved by ensuring that whatever protects them within the Land Rights Act, they are ensuring that they are part of the decision on the table. And I think a lot of communities have already been doing that, but we just have to step it up a little more.
Thank you, Mo. Mo, some countries, thank you, very timely, Simeon. Some countries, what they have done, even if they have concessions, if they come into the country, if they cut trees down, they got to replant some more trees. Here in America, they have this show, they're called lumberers. I think that's the name of the show, if I remember correctly. If you went to a place in Virginia, place in the Midwest, all these logging companies, as they cut the trees down, they regrow some of these trees. What we do is we just destroy the tree and nobody replant them. And in time past, nobody monitors the directors of these agencies to say, oh, what's going on? People just go to work, collect a paycheck. Now I see the president on a monthly basis. There is a retreat being held. Maybe someday they will have the forestry department also come to the forefront where they can scrutinize them and they make some report. But somebody also mentioned the communities in these regions should be responsible and make account to the government themselves. Say, listen, this is what's going on. Should we put more responsibility more on the local communities, for instance, in Grand Jita or Sano, or should central government be the focal point? More.
You know, Dwalu, on this issue of deforestation, I got plenty of views on it. And that some of these views are not views that many people want to hear. But yes, first I believe we must protect our forests. And the issue of reforestation, when you cut a tree, particularly for logging companies and others, they must be made to replant. I think it is part of the law. But like Ibrahim was saying, I don't know how the FDA is doing it. I don't know what are their monitoring mechanisms in place. But here is also my other point. Mostly the issue about preservation of the forest comes from outside. And why? Because there is this huge pollution coming from industrialized countries. And our forest is there to absorb some of the pollution they put out.
Yeah.
I mean, if it is just with Liberia, if every country were they're responsible to absorb their own pollution, our forest is enough to absorb the pollution for us and even our neighboring countries. So to talk about, for example, those who live on subsistence farming and other things, and even the logging companies that go there, the way they fool our people is that, we'll do things for you and then you cut the forest. The first thing to do, and which conservationists will say, oh, when they come, is to empower the local people to find alternative livelihood for them. Because if these people have alternative livelihood, sufficient enough, the issue of even logging companies, they will be forest rangers for themselves. But as long as we cannot address that, there will be issues. So, for example, you say do not cut the trees to burn charcoal. But we are not providing alternative means of heating and cooking for the people. It's practically impossible. So, we'll come on the show all the time. We'll talk about it. The conservationists will talk about it. But in the absence of practical solution, it will be difficult. Very, very difficult. Wanted to end on that.
Thank you so much, Harris. If you're back, Cole, you want to tie this thing up, Harris? You can come on screen to take some call. Anybody get any other comment before we go to the phone lines on this issue?
Yeah, I like what Mo said about it already being in the law, and I think it should be extended to everyone. If you cut a tree, replant. There should also be protection for certain types of trees.
Yeah.
My people come from Ga in Nimba, Ga clan, and we had massive trees that were ancient. The road to Legang, where my maternal side comes from, which is between Sanikole and Ganta. The road going to Legan along the St. John River used to be lined with cotton trees, very ancient trees. We had recently somebody jump up and say, all the trees got witchcraft and will cut everything down because they wanted to sell the logs. So they convinced the people that the reason for the misfortune was these trees. So they chopped the trees down. The people still are poor. But now those trees that were worth more intact for tourism reasons, so many things. The trees were beautiful.
Yeah.
They're gone. And there's also a concern I have about cultural preservation of some of these trees. For example, there's a cotton tree in Cape Mount that marks the burial site of a king. We know this because Cano wrote about it and he described the scene. He described exactly where it is. The cotton tree is still there, that they buried him at the foot of the cotton tree. That cotton tree is still there. I'm not going to explain where it is, but I know where it is. And my concern has always been if they cut this thing down, they cut all these cotton trees down that mark historic sites and events. Traditionally, we won't know where they are. It loses. So there has to be some protection for trees of cultural significance. In Sierra Leone, when their great cotton tree fell, the people took parts of the cotton tree and preserved it. It was very important because we have the same culture as the people in Guinea and Sierra Leone. We're the same people, right? And the Sierra Leoneans don't look at their cotton trees as being evil. When their great cotton tree fell, they took parts of the cotton tree and carved souvenirs out of it. Our cotton tree fell on Providence Island. They let it get rotten. They let it bog up and eat it, right? I'm saying all of that to say part of the conservation of forests, some trees we cannot just replant. There are some trees that are so old that if we replant them, we're talking about 300 years before they return. So there are some things that should just be off limits. You should, like the 2 cotton trees when you go into Buchanan. I'm so glad with all the road development, we still see those 2 cotton trees that our grandparents would see if they're going to Buchanan, right? Yeah. Those are things that need to be preserved. And all over Africa, when I was in Gambia, they have things that they preserve. We need to conserve a lot of these historic trees and things that have been around for centuries. So we need to recognize what is what and make sure that those are not just burned into coal or put on as most of them are shipped off because it makes very expensive logs. And we need to make sure we protect those things for posterity. That's all.
Before you go
you know why they don't cut cotton tree down easily in Cape Mount?
One more.
I don't know if it's true, but there was this belief that whenever a cotton tree falls, somebody very prominent, a big person with that.
Yes. It's a water help. It's a water help belief. They want
all over. But they have come, a lot of these, unfortunately, I'm going to say it, a lot of the Nigerian pastors that have started entering the interior and opening up churches are telling our people that the trees are demonic.
Yeah,
exactly.
I just want to add to what Kou and Mo said. And we have to be able to look beyond our own scope to see what others are doing. Back in the days, we're going to school, and you read about Ethiopia, we're all about farming and drought.
Yep.
Just a negative thing. Today you go to Ethiopia, the very young prime minister that they have, Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed, he's revolutionized the country.
Yep.
And one of the things, very admirable things that he done is to encourage the people to plant trees across the country. Up to the time I was there with the president a couple of months ago, they have planted up to 48 billion trees.
Million
so a
or
country like
billion? Wow.
48 billion trees.
Wow.
I was privileged to be in the bilateral the president had with President Abiy Ahmed. He openly announced that data to us. So it takes innovation. Now we're building the Rawafi Highway, and you see the whole place just open. We need to be innovative in a way that we can start planting trees along that corridor. Because the thing about global warming, you don't have to wait for it to come on you first. Yes, we have huge forest reserve and everything, which is being depleted in our very face. But we got to be planting more trees too. So, if we can just say, for example, these city mayors get people to plant trees in major corridors, major highways and everything, we can be able to fight deforestation, because as you cutting down the trees, we're planting new trees that can grow. And in a very short while, you're going to see our whole highway will be flooded with beautiful trees and everything. When you ride from Addis Ababa to a place called Bishtufu, very far away, about 2 hours distance, all you see along the route, just beautiful trees being planted by the people. Every home, every facility over there, people planting trees for themselves. So they realize, that planting tree tradition has gotten to a point where, as you planting a tree, you're planting something that you can also eat. So you go into every place, you see people planting papaya, you see guava, you see different kind of fruits they're planting all in the places. So we need to do that, because, of course, like Mo said, you can't stop the people from burning coal, except you get an alternative livelihood, which we're not prepared to do right now as a country. I heard the other day, I went to Mines and Energy, and I saw one consultant who came from one of the countries. They say, oh, the thing that Sam and we're talking about, they say they try to, come to supply people with cooking gas and everything. It's not going to happen in the short term. So why they put burning down the coal? Cutting down the trees to burn coal in the interior. We just have to be able to plant trees along the corridor. I think we should begin with the Rawafi Highway, which is a big investment for the country. We can begin to plant trees along that corridor, and gradually we can replicate it across the country. Those are the points I wanted
Thank
to
you.
add.
Yeah, excellent point. Harris, the ball is in your court. Come on screen. Let's hear from our people from back home regarding anything that we'll discuss here today. It's up to you, Harris. Let's hear from our people. Harris, can you hear me?
Okay,
Harris,
so we go to the lines and take your calls tonight. 0778-665-699, 080-561-644, 0776-293-620. Adding numbers. This person is on our very first caller. You have the name, you called from where?
Good evening, Howard.
Good evening, let's hear you.
Thank God so much to my there's a parkour for the immediate party in the election period. Thank you so much for to hear from our decent minister and other panels. The good new on the Liberian development, what we hear today, that the job of Nigeria to the southern part, the Burkina Faso, in the forest damaging our resources. I think, thank God to clear one of our topics today. The government got to do something. The government got to do something in a way that the superintendent, each of the county, yeah, you can't get this word spoiling all our resources in the city to that county with the people of local government, no.
Okay.
I think they want to the people and also to the job baby. That people,
Go ahead quickly, Paco.
Yeah, they think to the job baby. I think the powerful speech is the president gave last powerful speech. We all got to work in our state, our community, in the school, every area for their job.
Thank you.
Because the policy should not give or the country. Thank you, our problem, everyone.
Thank you. This person from line 2, you live. Let's hear you.
Yes, good evening, Mr. Harris, and good evening, I'm Jason calling from the manager.
Go ahead, Jason, you live.
Sunday, before the parent view and comes to deal with the chiefs. So, number one, what I read every day will know that global warming is about the next 25 to come. So,
oh, yeah.
What happened in Kenya? Or the Kenyan government gave you a plant tree. And what happened in America today? Today we give up president time to do that. The whole world is still forward. Now they are keeping the country without temperature. Look at that view of what the parents say around the highway. That is on major route to the capital. So when tree is put on a route, it will also stop the heat of the solar. Because if that is met, you see people on a route time safely, and there will be low temperature when they are driving.
Thank you.
So we should do it.
Thank you. We'll have to leave you this person. Good evening. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, good evening, my brother. This is Omar Wotawale, and I'm joining from Kingston. Yeah, so I'm interested in discussing the plenty of trees. And then I want to think a bit towards that because I listen to you guys discussing that it is very important to our country, and the reason for which people are planting trees is that you guys are discussing about deforestation and what have you. That is immensely affecting the airway. And I found it is important to get our guys in the field to see how best they can monitor and evaluate those that are doing different illegal deforestation and what have you. So to put stop to that, people can get in the field to put stop to that. And then to another point, the reason for which people can plant trees, well, especially not just the major highway, more especially in the city. I was in India 3 days ago, and then I saw a lot of trees they planted everywhere. If you drive from New Delhi to Taj Mahal, you will see trees everywhere. And I asked the professor, I said, the reason for which you guys are planting nurseries like this, what's the reason behind that? The guy said there are several reasons. The guy said number one reason is to protect the environment and reduce effects of climate change. That was the one reason that I gave me. The second reason he gave me, he also gave me air pollution. He said many Indian cities experience sufficient air pollution, and the reason for which they have to consider that is to plant more trees to absorb the dust from the air. Absorbing the dust from the air, it will stop, the dust will go everywhere so that
okay.
Be affected. The second reason was experiencing heat. And India is a heated country, so it's very tough in India to just air space like that. So these are common factors. These are common reasons of planting trees. So it is very well especially in Laguna. And in another sense too, we refer to as well the green city. People are investing in green city these days. When I bring high see trees around.
Thank you. We have to leave you 077-866-5699, 080-561-644, 0776-293-620 are the numbers. We'll take more of the calls. 0778-665-699, 0776-293-620. This person, good evening.
Yeah, how are you?
Let's hear you.
Yes, thank you for the show. And I got attracted by the show I do. I normally follow the show. But I got attracted when the panel decided to dive into environmental issues. And I appreciate all the panelists in there really point the show tonight. But what attracted me most is that I call myself as the executive director for the Global Green Shield Foundation, where we have already embarked. We have planted the first 160 coconut trees along the highway around the marsh up there. And at this point, we have started to raise government institutions to support. We are legal owners and with all legal documents, we have our office space. And we thought it wise to get into environmental issues because we understand the issues that affect our people, especially like the development issues of Sandro mentioned. When you drive from the FE to Morovia, it's like that in the street. But almost all the rooms there, they are just vulnerable. With the climate change we are experiencing around the world,
Okay.
When we report the erosions and all this stuff, like I said, our website is online. We have all the documents. We have impact.
Thank you. We'll have to leave you 077-8665-699, 088056144, 0776-293-620. At the numbers, we'll go to the line. This person from line 1, you live, the name you called from where?
Good evening.
Good evening, let's hear you.
Okay, my name is Jay Lidenboy and I joined from station number 6, a member of the Forgotten Rescue. Let me say thank you to Dwalo and the rest of the panelists for the show tonight. Let me say thank you to also you, Harris. The discussing points tonight are very cardinal. They are all important for us. We say thank you for our money laws and everything that is going on in our country. But one concern that I have is whether the government is forgetting about us, the forgotten rescue of those people that stood in the rain and the sun, in the trenches. We are forgetting about all their in-laws and out us from now because the big election is not yet near. So that is my concern. Thank you so much for having me.
that man's still on the phone. 1 second, Harry. That man's still on the phone tomorrow.
Yeah,
you can hear me?
Oh, you slipped off. You slipped off already.
Okay. Now, I just wanted to tell the man, what do you mean forgotten rescue? The system is being built. The roads are being connected. Not everybody can get a job. I understand people.
Let's hear this person
personally.
You live, the name you called from where?
Good evening. This is from Penville.
Let's hear you.
The discussion tonight is very interesting, most especially that which has to do with FDA. For me, I am yet to actually know the real function of FDA. I thought they're supposed to be involved with reforestation and all of that. They're supposed to be planting trees where trees, are cut down, for logging purposes, where trees are cut down for coal making and all of that. I thought they're supposed to be replacing those trees. But instead, they just sit down, ride the BB cars. What actually they're supposed to do? Let it tell us. Because we're not getting any impact from FDA. But instead, we see there the BB car on the quota row. I don't know whether that's the forest or that's the forest with the quota row in the Mandela here now. And, so what are they to do? I mean, so now you invite them. They come on this media and be able to tell the Liberians what their functions are, so that at least we will know. And when we get to know, maybe we will help them. I thought they're supposed to have people deployed, in all the counties where they have these forests. They're supposed to be deployed there, making sure that before those trees are cut down, they are controlled.
Okay,
but
thank you.
Nothing like that. Let it tell you. I'm invited to let it come one low, what is supposed to do.
Thank you. We'll leave you this person from line 1. You live, the name you called from where?
Good evening.
Good evening. Let's hear you.
Thank you so much. This is a call from Mount Barclay. I feel constrained to really speak on the issue tonight because this is really destroying the future of the next generation, the land. The reason why most of the laws government have on board the Land Rights Act of 2018, the Community Rights Law of 2009, the provisions that are there for community ownership of certain land, that was just intended to budget government effort. So this means to say that if the community have their own money, they can even set up their mini sawmill to just get maybe plan they want to fix chair for schools, build benches, and all those things. But not cutting a high bush, because the current case in the southeast now, I think government need to take full ownership of land. Because the people who have been given the land to farm on, the farmland is different from the land that have been set aside by government, the forests that are gazetted, the national parks. These land are set aside so that the next generation benefits from it. But people misuse them, they can give it to Burkina Bay for as low as 10,000 Ivorian money called beaming. And as a result of this thing, everywhere they almost like taking the land onto themselves. the land is not yours. You're not related to God to say He's sharing His inheritance with you and the rest of it. But you take it, give it to a Burkina Bay. And I don't know why they are even coming here when we are told that Traore is doing so much in their funding. So they take the land, give it to the people, and most time the people even make the fund, their fund are prosperous than our own Liberian people.
Okay.
Okay? And on the basis of this thing, the community themselves, because EU got a law that from 2019 up to the present, any land that you made our cocoa or whatever on, you have to show proof whether you did not carry on deforestation. So a lot of them is deforested.
Okay, thank you. We'll leave you 077-866-5699. 080-561-644. We'll take a few more calls.
Make it two more.
080-616-44. We go for 2 calls and call it a night from this end. This person, good evening. Thanks for joining us.
Good evening, Guado and the people. I'm Ezekiel A. Logan calling from my Dual resident. One of my friends just stressed a point just now. We are so-called that we went in the trenches of Unity Party. Now we're not benefiting anything for the party. I, Ezekiel, fortunately know J. Luther Tapper, the chairman for Unity Party. I know him very well. Small day construction at LRC, and today we can't even get nothing for Unity Party. Even though we lost the party and the party is our party. We struggle for the party from district number 6. We have an observer group that we organized in the 2023 general election, and we organized an observer group. But today, my brother, we're not getting anything from Unity Party, my brother.
All right, let me ask that one question. Another I may go.
Yeah, just on the line, Eduardo wants to ask you.
So thank you for calling. And you know, over 1 million people voted for the party, correct?
Agree.
So you think the government has the capacity to bring all 1 million people on board? Yes or no?
I don't think the government has the capacity of giving.
Okay, let's go back and forth. We don't have a lot of time, so it doesn't. But let me finish that you can't go. I don't want you to explain. Just listen now. We'll go back and forth. I don't want you to explain. I will ask you the question you want answer. I don't want you to explain. I understand to you the government is supposed to do something for everybody, and that I agree. But when the government provides clean water in the community, it is extended to everybody. When the government connects to roads in the county, it is extended to everybody. Yes, the one I will agree when you want the government should work more to create jobs in the private sector. That's something we can talk about. But I don't want us to believe that because you vote for a party or you support a political organization, that it must affect you personally directly. Do you understand that?
I understand, but Guado.
Go ahead. I'm listening now. I'm listening.
We that people know in person, right? We that people know in person. We should benefit, and then we should be able to, because some of them ever ask you with the general construction, with the other thing. But today, even now, if I call the chairman, he will not answer my call. If I call Dawood, he will not answer my call. If I call more, nobody will answer anyone of call. Because some of us here will suffer in district number 6. We went all in the trenches.
I understand. And the one I agree with you, the government got to fight to create more private sector jobs. That's one thing I will always push, and I agree with that. But I don't want people in Liberia to believe that because you support a political party, that means everybody's supposed to get a job. I don't want people to believe that because it's not possible.
That's not what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
That the government should provide job for everybody.
Okay.
But the government should be able. The government should be able.
Okay.
Thank
No,
you.
I agree. The government should create more private sector jobs, and that's something the government is
you-
doing gradually. Okay, and we
We'll
need more.
take our very last caller for tonight, 0778-665-699. This person is a very final caller from this end. You live the name you called from where?
Yeah, good evening.
Good evening, let's hear you.
Yeah, thank you very much. The name remains Thomas F. with our current constituency, the president, this is number 2 months of our county. You know, the guy I can call, and he was really made me to call to be friend. I really wanted to call to name. You got to be friend to yourself. everyone or other here. I still continue to support the government throughout of my life. Even the money I put every time I think I just leave I put $1 in my phone to call, get for me sometimes to be able, because I'm seeing wheresoever, if you really that brother talking about call, if you really secure to his if you really support the government, and you try to still continue to support the government, I see my brother, don't look up. Because what we are seeing is the government, what they are putting in place, don't think about today, my brother, not because you have not get a job, you have not seen what you have, but I know you are that rationally you really support for the government. Whatever are going on through, at the end of the day, I know in future we all will benefit.
Okay.
We are whatever there will be what to benefit in future, my brother. Don't give up, don't lose hope. This is our government. Government doing their very best. If I say time you put them best to put it in place at the end of the day, when time we all will be able to benefit.
Thank you. We'll leave you, Josiah, our very last caller from this end.
Thank you so much. And to the Liberian people, I understand the conditions in our country, but if we have 100 people unemployed before now, we got 90 people unemployed. A lot of people still unemployed, but graduated over time. The government don't have money. One of the mistakes that were made under the CDC administration, they just put everybody on the payroll. Then the government got no money to build no road, no money to build no bridges. So over time, I agree we got to create more jobs, but we got to understand the government. And even the government put everybody on the payroll. That means government. And yes, I agree. If you got some trade, we should find a way to expand the sector. That's something I scream about every day. Let's understand that. I don't want you to get mad or angry at your own government. I want you to want more for the rest of the country. President Boga said, "Le Moria the land, the government. We got to carry the government to the people in rural State, to the people in rural Nima, to the people in Blood Diala, all the way in Grand Jida. The government got to go to them too." Caller, you're live. Your name and where you calling from? Hello, caller. Hello. Yep. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm hearing you. This is Deborah calling from New Jersey.
Hey, Debbie, you're live.
Yeah, there was something that in Battlefield today. Something went on in a neighborhood today in Liberia, where the Nigerian went in this living place. They all know each other, and they were producing drugs out of that place. The chemical caught on fire, and some of them I think they fell off.
Oh, is the one with the man in the white shirt laying on the floor?
Yes.
I did see that. Yeah, but I couldn't upload. But I did see that.
Those two guys, they said they are Nigerian.
Okay.
And that girl moved in that neighborhood. It looked like the neighborhood she was in. The people started calling the DEA on her, so she decided to move in that neighborhood. The Nigerian men would come and bring those things and the chemical and all of that. And she got I think she said today, she got a 7 to 8 years old girl child in that place, and that whole place caught on fire today with that drug.
Yeah.
I just trying to tell our Liberian people, this country we live in, when you're moving in a neighborhood, you will see people creeping through their window. They're blind to see that person that moving in that neighborhood, and they will begin to watch you people that moving in that particular place. If there any kind of funny thing they see around, they will immediately call the cops, and you will not even know who called the cops. You will see the cop right to your door and all of that. So as the president said, we should be our own neighborhood watching. If you see something in the community, you know that this is looking fishy, just try to contact the DEA, because look what happened. Look what that girl is doing in our house there. She got this thing like a dryer, that where the people dry the thing, they bring the chemical and all this kind of thing. So
okay.
I sent it to you today. I thought you were going to highlight it on the show today.
That's okay. It's never late. We'll still talk about it tomorrow.
Yeah, I just wanted to highlight that.
Yeah.
For tonight. I think some of our people are also saying, I think I have just seen it on the show, our people, their pay was harmonized, and most of them was in the rain and all of that because the harmonization of their pay. And let our government try by all means, by the grace of God, to try to lift the harmonization up. How can you be working for the $50 or for the whole month and $150 for the whole month? So please, let us try to sometime highlight this. Thank
you so much. And just for the record, I don't think anybody makes $50 for a whole month in Liberia. I don't know the minimum salary, but I think it's north of $100 or 150 or something like that. Obviously, they need more. And that's what it is. We need more. But caller, your live. Your name and where you calling from?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Tuaro. Thank you to everyone. I'm Sandro Brunel.
Yeah, Mr. Brunel, welcome.
Everything touched today on the show is very important.
Yeah.
But I wanted to talk something about our young women. See, Tuaro, one thing I was observing that is that our young girls that come here, our children, it look at a pleasure, a new thing. You know, days when a girl child have, when a girl child even born, I mean, for you see the thing with the children, for that baby. Even they want to know, they want for the parent want for the community, but our young women this time, they take baby business special, they take it like, I don't know how you call it, like something that pleasure or that something to boast with or what. If one girl in this community have a baby, all the young folks are coming, everyone at the party, everybody go braid hair, they go play with that baby. And you see everyone of them about 10, everyone having baby. And then the next thing, what happened later? You're not ready to born. You're not prepared to have a child. And you go and start having 2, 3 children before you reach the age of 25. Who the man want to take the responsibility? Who the man, he lazy, he can't do nothing. He even know how to fry fritter. Who the man, then they say, oh, men should take the responsibility for women? Who want? Now, we know days where sometimes a sister will take care of them. Everybody want to use people as kilo or horse, ride on the bikes, and go tie them. And someone bring a child from the interior of the city, you make sure they want to put on the market to sell for them to feed about the children. So all of those things, our mothers, our sisters, the church women, they want to be educating young people. But they sit there and think even the women encourage their children to have babies. Yeah, and even though I'm old, but I'm not going to take no woman and the mistake they made from the beginning. And they have a lot of women made a mistake. They have a responsibility to chicken up. I saw a black African American here. I did a football player, have a white girl, got a good child. The girl want to go to sleep, went there to go talk to the girl to get the phone. That little girl spit on the guy's face. The mother was standing there. She almost killed herself. Especially African women, they decide they're trying to be rude. When you suffer under them, they don't want something. So that's why men are running over women.
Thank you. Thank you. Yep, and there are specific cases. Not everybody. We got to make that disclaimer because it seems nowadays you cannot speak when people can and discern and say, okay, this person trying to make this point on a specific issue. So we got to come out again and create clarity. Obviously, not everybody. There are some great women that got children already, whose children are well behaved. But we got experiences outside there as well where no things happen. Let's take the final caller here for the night. We don't have a lot of calls. I know we did speak about that stuff. Across the country, Liberian people, if you see somebody in your community, they're bringing chemical in your house, those things can cause not just fire, they can explode, they're bombs. There's a lot of combustion going on to make drugs. So if you allow it in your house, they can blow your whole house. And the Nigerians, when they're not going to stop. In fact, in Singapore, you basically like the Philippines, they're executing people for that. They've executed several Nigerians for this in Singapore, in the Philippines for this stuff. If they cannot import it, they bring the chemicals in Liberia. If you bring it in your house, anybody cannot make drugs in your house. And yes, you will know when somebody making drugs in your house. You're supposed to know. We are getting no more. We're going to go back to the panelists for conclusions tonight. Larama, let's come to you first and foremost, brother. Let's have you part way with us tonight.
Well, thank you. I think it's been a wonderful show. I would just like to close on the frustration expressed by two of our callers who, in the mind and as clearly articulated by them, voted for this.
Lama, I'm so sorry. I did that very quickly. I wanted for all to look at it for 1 second. This is what happened in Nepal. It's a bunch of video, but I just wanted for all to see it for like 30 seconds. That's a major street, and it's all over Nepal. Tons of people because they didn't protect their forest, or maybe there are deforestation, or they got different environment on that side. but the kind of water we're talking about. So every time we say, oh, Liberia flood there, let's put it into context. We show you guys Ghana a few, maybe about a month ago, what happened in Ghana.
It's a glacier. It's a glacier that melted, and the big ice chunk, probably the size of a town, crashed into the river. That had nothing to do with deforestation. I just want to say that.
Correct. That's exactly what happened. But go ahead, Larma.
Yeah, so the broader point, I think he has a legitimate concern, but it's also to say it's a better time to have this kind of conversation, because usually when we go to election and the ruling party becomes the winning party, or the party wins and becomes a ruling party, it is generally expected that the government should provide government job for all of its loyalists, or all of its partisans, or all of its voters. And it's wrong, because at the end of the day, we have seen plenty of examples that led to the collapse of the state. When we took over a bloated payroll. The civil service had people, you had 6, 7 persons on one desk, basically for a job or a role that only one person can do. And if 6 other persons that show up to work sign up and do nothing. All right. So at least we've managed now to reduce that. We have a total collapse of the state in terms of our image internationally. Today we can boast of Liberians feeling proud to carry a Liberian passport. We had total collapse of the state with our healthcare system, our roads. Today, people, as promised by President Boaga, no car will be stuck in the mud during the rainy season. People move freely, year and about. Even with the electricity, prices of things have gone down. We took the economy from a buy ship, from double-digit inflation. Now it's about around 4%. We have done tremendous in the last 2 years and a half. Now, the building of a state doesn't start with government job. It starts with putting system in place, ensuring that the government work, public services, and goods are given to the people in a way that is very efficient, cracking down on state bureaucracy. That if you went to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs today, it takes you much more. It takes you fewer days to get a Liberian passport as compared to the past. Right to the Ministry of Work. At the time when we put public notice on National Cadet Program, people will feel that it is who know you. But today, an ordinary Liberian in Bombing County, the last few days were there, and we listened to the testimony of these young people that at the time they applied, they felt that they would not have been called by people in power. But these opportunities are being created. So to my brother who went to LOIC and did construction, there are a lot of opportunities. Maybe you could start a small construction company of your own. Maybe you can access some of the funding that is available through the African Development Bank and the Ministry of Commerce for local entrepreneurs. There is 16 to 18 million that was launched last year. So let's find ways to find information and opportunity, as opposed to just complaining just because you voted for a government that you wanted to see do the best for the country and move the country forward. But that's just my 2 cents of advice to my young brother.
Yeah, thank you so much, Larama. And I want to make this disclaimer. This should go without saying. Look, I host the show. I don't control what anybody says on the show. If anybody says anything that you disapprove of, I cannot be faulted for that. I don't, and frankly, I really don't care what anybody says. I'm not going to control what somebody says. If you guys want to go out there and say, oh, do I do on the show and this person said anything that means I approve, I don't approve or disapprove what anybody says. Everybody, they will told their own kinja. You place responsibility on me, that's your fault. I don't care about it. Mo Ali, let's hear from you, my brother.
Thank you, Dwalu. I'm not going to go into this thing about, oh, we supported the government and we don't have jobs, or we're not giving our jobs. We agree that government is responsible, to provide the conducive atmosphere, the enabling environment for people to get jobs. But it is not possible for government to absorb everybody who voted for them in government. but also the government is not for a political party, it's not for a particular political party. When you win a seat, when you win an election, when the news go out there and say Liberian people elected, it's difficult for you to hear out there Unity Party elected, even though it is the party that will lead the campaign, but eventually it is the Liberian people that will elect. You got more than 800,000 persons who voted for Joseph Waka to be president. In order to get all of them job in government. So I'm not going to the argument. There are two things quickly I wanted to talk about. I watched this video interview of a police officer from Minnesota. And the person interviewing asked a pointed question: did you sell vehicle to the Liberian National Police? And he
I
said
saw
no.
that.
And I thought first that the interviewer is very stupid. And I also thought that, like said the last time, we who grew up in the interior, at least we who were born in the interior, we had this thought that people who go to America, they're supposed to be automatically clever, they're supposed to be automatically smart. But I think we were wrong there. There are other people who go there, they go there stupid and they remain stupid. I don't know
That's what more talking from more, enough from me. ANC people, you're here. I'm more talking it. You're whole more responsible.
You scared of the
Why you scared, Anna? Somebody not threatening you. Powerful people not threatening you.
No sense talking. They making me vet.
No, powerful people not threatening you.
They talking about. You remember? I know you're talking about Mavi Koye. How I encourage, but they're gonna small boy. More go ahead, man.
Yeah, I will come to that one too. So, you interviewing someone, a police officer. Okay, so I don't know about America, but I know about Liberia. Police department is now a business place. They don't sell car. In Liberia, they got one government agency. When we use car, government entities use car, and they want to get rid of it has to be done through the GAC, not GAC, GSA. So I don't know if the police department in Minnesota can sell car directly. I don't think so. That person who are pretending to be a journalist should have done a little background search to see. Now, the second point there is, I have now heard the Liberian National Police here said anywhere that they bought car from the police department in Minnesota or Minneapolis or wherever, they've never said it. I have not seen any statement. I have not heard it from any policeman. So how did you go on an interview to interview a serious policeman and you go out and say, oh, Liberian National Police bought car from the police department in your place? You expect the man to say yes when they don't deal, when they are not business organization, they are not dealing in cars, they're not selling. They're there to enforce law, to ensure that, the city is kept in the confines of the law. That's what the police people are there for. They are law enforcement officers. They are not car dealers. And so I see people jumping around with all on Facebook. And we told you, we say the police people, that drug money, they get it, man. He took it in vodka. I know we in politics and I know we want to do propaganda. But you see, you got to be smart in doing it. And I see a few persons falling for it. Everything I see, I sit down first before I react to things. I do my own analysis and ask myself questions. So that other one is just funny. And then on the issue of Chris, today I was confronted by a friend. I said, Mo, were you on the show when Chris referred to the representative of Bond County in a very denigrating way or so? I saw you on the show and you didn't say anything. I said, well, I wasn't paying attention to what he said and how he referred to the representative. But if it is true, I believe that we should not be doing that. We come on the show, there are a lot of people who listen to us, thousands of people. We can disagree with people as much as we want, but to refer to them, in the manner I am hearing, because I didn't actually hear it, but I know he was talking something about Marvin Cole. I think we should be careful with that. Now, lastly, today I saw an article from one of the veteran journalists of Liberia, uh, Philibert Brown, alleging that right after Sheikh Bashiru Kanti was accused of being in this entire drug saga, the Ministry of Commerce issued him a rice permit, the IPD, to import rice. And I heard that from several other persons, and I read it on social media. We expect that the Ministry of Commerce will come out and state what their position is, whether they give it to him. But let me say here clearly that when I saw that accusation tonight, particularly coming from Philibert Brown, who is a veteran journalist in Liberia, I spoke with the Commerce Minister directly, and she has outright denied that they've issued any permit to any Sheikh Bashir Kanti. Now, people can organize, establish their businesses, and they could establish it in. There are people who can front for them. For example, there are many Lebanese people here engaging businesses that are not supposed to do that, are supposed to be for Liberians, and so they get Liberians who front for them. So I recommended to the Commerce Minister that they should do a thorough investigation. Obviously, I am not sure anyone at the Commerce Ministry will see the name Sheikh Bashir Kante and issue an IPD. But whether there is a company registered and somebody fronting for him. But then I'm not a lawyer. How do you deny if I went to register a company and Sheikh Bashir Kantini is not on that listed on that company as one of the owners or anything? How do you deny me? So I saw that and I thought to make a comment on it, and it would be good for the Commerce Ministry to, check. But the
No, but
Commerce
let me
Ministry
ask
has
you.
out.
Let me ask you. You said Philibert Brown said when was Sheikh giving the IPD? Mo.
He said after he was accused of the drug thing, and that's where I have problem with. If they had said
So
before, but he said
so
after.
so he's saying that what in the last 2 days, that's when, or 3 days, or 1 week, that's when Sheikh Bashir Kante got their IPD.
Exactly. He said I think 2 or 3 days after Sheikh Bashir Kanti was accused, is caught in the drop web. That's when the Ministry of Commerce, issue him the IPD to import rice. I thought it's a propaganda, and then they went
But
on to throw.
sorry,
They say that
sorry, sorry, Dwalupi. Let me just say, it just brings when Mo talk about the journalism profession. Look, I tell people this profession is a noble profession, and we learn and we admire a lot of people with serious integrity. Did the man publish the IPD? He did not publish the IPD.
No.
You see, you can just go on gossip. You got an IPD with the man name on it and everything, and you publish it. And even that, if you publish it, because then you can authenticate that with the Ministry of Commerce. But just to come and say it, because he's not the first person. Right after they arrested Vice President Howard Taylor, Akara's girl, the first person who said nothing. Then Jefferson Chesson said nothing. Then, but none of them have published any IPD. And it's the same thing I tell people, that government people should not be running to all these, because you see, when a person gave you something substantive to look at, that just they say, he has not published it for anybody to pick it and say, wait, let me go and authenticate this. Because as a journalist, that is what you will do. You will have the document. You will cross-check your document, even with the ministry. And you can even say, I went to the ministry, even though the ministry denied this document, but this is the document that I have. Or the ministry have confirmed that this is the document. But they will never publish the document. And then we just start running the government on the Facebook. As soon as somebody says something, now we run to them. And none of them got a document to prove it. So what they're doing now is that people just say something, then the government will come back, and the government will come back and say, no, we're giving you, this is what we have.
Now here is it, right? Here is what he wrote. Nearly, just the first part, nearly 24 hours after it was published that the current Liberian government issued an import permit declaration to Sheikh Bashiru County to import right into Liberia, the post was taken down from his Facebook page. So he is alleging that Sheikh Bashiru County published on his Facebook page that the government of Liberia issued him IPD to import right. Sources within government say the post was ordered removed because it is embarrassing to be waging a war, a national campaign against drugs and organized crime, while at the same time granting a trade lesson to the same men. The post is there on his page, you know.
That was seen on the journalism video. Yeah.
Call him there from where I sit.
Yeah, from where I sit. Let me sit in now.
So Abraham, that part with you, bro.
Yeah,
it
was a nice show. Let me tell our audience, thank you for sharing. Make sure you go on the page and be able to like the page too as well. Daughter, I just want to thank the president for the president's speech that he made yesterday evening or last night, some people may say. That speech was needed for some of our comrades who don't understand investigation. That speech served as a calmer for them. That speech was on point. But moreover, let me also thank the president also for, having so much confidence in the Minister of State with our portfolio ability, for the Liberian delegations that have just concluded their study of their missions in Uganda, about the advanced plan for National Reconciliation Museum. That indeed, that is remarkable. And this president is just doing what is right for our country. What we need, that's what this president is providing for us at this point. For our ministers and other delegates, for them to be able to go to Uganda and go study how the peace and reconciliation was achieved there. I strongly believe that is a foul march for our country. But I just want to say to my friend and brother, Martin, he should not be afraid. What Martin is afraid of? Claiming that the president should provide security for him, then he will be able to buy a plane ticket for him to be able to come home.
No. The president is providing security for everyone. So, Martin, you are a citizen of our country. What at this point in time, what fear must grab you for you to be able to return to your own country? What fear must grab you? The thing you was doing the right thing. So I would just encourage you for you to come back home at any point in time. Come on, Liberia is your country. Stop showboating on Facebook saying, the people there against me and this and that. Nobody against you. You are against yourself. Thank you, Eduardo. See you when I see you guys.
Thank you so much. Councilor Ma, have you closed? Closed, so we'll go up the call. Call, I ain't got nothing here, man.
No, I haven't closed yet. So let me just say, in closing, that the issue of the environmental degradation that's happening in our country due to the illegal mining is very serious. Even we talk about reforestation, I don't see how possible it will be when we destroy the entire environment, nothing can grow. So I hope that that task force doesn't think that they have luxury of time. It was because of the seriousness and the urgency of the situation that the president put that task force together. I think it has been well over 2 months since they were established. And if they're still trying to synchronize or get to the agencies or the governing ministries, I think it's taking just too long. These people are not waiting for us. They are continuing every day to destroy our forest. So I hope that A.B. Kroma and his team can really try and get on the ground and try to save our forest and our resources and our people's lives. Tualu, the second thing is that today the Supreme Court handed down a particular opinion and on a case with Wilma Smith, the former Deputy Director General of Licious, and against EcoBank.
That's right.
That two things that come out of that again for me in that opinion. One is people being held liable when they damage people's reputation. You just pick things up, you don't verify them, nothing, you publish it widely.
Yeah.
All right. So in that, even though EcoBank has been held liable to pay him $250,000 because somebody went into their privacy and took and took the people information from their account and sent it to Stanton. I don't know why I don't see whether Stanton in the opinion, because it's all mentioned in the case. Maybe it's a different case with him. But then the other people that ran with him, Martin Colley and the other guy, they're all supposed to pay $50,000.
$50,000. Yeah.
I don't think because you're outside the bailiwick of Liberia, you are free. You got to pay that money. Because you don't pay, the laws provides that the man will look for lien on any property or anything you have. Or you have it anytime you hit this soil, you'll be collected to pay it. But I'm just saying this because there are so many people who think that this Facebook thing, all sorts of baseless, and go to AI creating all sorts of things and damaging people's reputation all over the place. Don't think you can go free.
Yeah.
When you do that, linking people to drug, linking people to this, linking people to that, to stealing money, when they sue you, you can be held liable for it if you can prove it. And in that case also, there's something interesting came up again with jury tampering. The case has ended over a year, in fact, almost 2 years now. Today, the Supreme Court forwarded in fact, 2 lawyers and the bailiff of the court to the Grievance and Ethics Committee to be investigated for jury tampering. Because during the time that case started, the lawyer for lawyer Arthur Johnson, the lawyer for what's his name, Wilma Smith, informed the judge that there was an issue with jury tampering in a previous case that involved a lawyer for Ecobank. And he saw one of those jurors in that case who is now sitting as the grateful person in that particular case. The judge, without investigating the allegation and everything, dismissed the thing and continued with the trial. After almost 2 years, the Supreme Court said those lawyers must go to face the Grievance and Ethics Committee to be investigated for jury tampering.
After 2 years.
I repeat this because people say when the case is done and everything is over, when jury tampering come out, you can't call them back. They may not go back to that particular case because the case Supreme Court has handled it, but they have referred those people for investigation. So for those people who go around slandering people and yet thinking everything on Facebook is true, you know, they must be careful. And people who they damage, those people got remedy. And when they start suing people left and right, nobody should come back to say, oh, the government trying to hunt them through somebody else and they're trying to silence people. Because saying lies and publishing lies about people, it is not free speech. Going into people's privacy. You go, somebody who is not a public official, you go, you start digging up the vehicle document, the this and the privacy. It's invasion of privacy. It is against the law. It is even public officials have some privacy. All right, it is against the law, and people can doctor everything. I saw some passport. You know, Martin posted a passport of a lady. Say diplomatic passport. And the person use the same passport. They put his picture there. They put his name there. They say he see the same passport. You know, people need to be careful. That's all I say. But I think this opinion instructively gives us a message again.
Yeah.
Especially in this time when everybody now become detective, investigative journalists, and Facebook lawyers. They know everything. So they're collecting paper from here, collecting this one from here, and publishing it and say it is against this person. People just need to be very, very careful about that. Having said that, let me wish you guys a very pleasant evening and look forward to talking and having a good conversation again tomorrow. Dwalu, you love for one more social issue tomorrow. Let's bring it here. So
okay, we'll look for one more. But if you see some, you put it.
Don't forget, the port autonomy bill, we got to argue that one there.
Hey, hold on, I'll be in that deal. I'm telling you,
now you'll be the you will be the moderator. You will be the moderator.
The drug cartel autonomy bill. That's
that you will be the moderator, Dwalu.
But Councilor Ma, before I go to call, you raised some very great points about people's responsibility. And Liberia also passed a new law. I think it's a digitization law and internet accountability.
The cyber law.
So if you have social media content creators, people going, this is a serious thing. If you work in a bank, you can't take my personal information, you give it to somebody, then they start publishing it, this and that. And the reason why I'm saying is somebody did it to me in Liberia because I was sending money through the system back to the States because I didn't trust my money to be in Liberia. So I think like a 2 month span, I sent over 100,000. Somebody went and grab my information. I go load FIU key to my home. All the men want a small thing. I say, how the man do my man support and send them the information from the bank? I could have sued for that, but
no,
it was just one of those things.
The FIU is a government.
No, it's a. I understand that.
Once you transfer a certain amount of money, if automatically it flags. If the bank is under obligation to report it. If the bank doesn't report that transfer, the FIU they can fine the bank. So
no, I understand that portion.
Under obligation to that one. We're not leaking it. The bank is under obligation. I think the amount is about 20,000 or so.
Once you
over 10,000. Over 10,000.
No, it's exactly 10,000 or more.
Or more.
So if it's 900, I mean
9,099.9.
Yeah, but if it's 10,000 or more.
So when you transfer, once you transfer.
No, I was not doing anything illegal, so I didn't care. But according to them, it's not a beginning.
Obligation to report.
Yeah, and I understood that they came, they saw all the documents.
Especially if the transfer is international, it's like.
Yeah. But the power, when you come and say the men want that small thing, not part of the law.
No,
so
but hey,
I don't know how they want that small thing.
The men want that small thing because you don't see the money. I said, no, I keep my money in that bank. I'm sure Liberian bank. It was just a whole other situation.
System.
No, now I do because I got certain protocols in place. But before, the minute you're taking money from the bank, nobody having that discussion. Call. Let's hear from you, Mama.
Yeah. So where's Lama? He doesn't want to do his closing.
Lama here, but he's not here. Oh God, not seeing a picture. Be talking if you upload. I upload it for la video la picture.
Why you look like somebody that wants sleep, Dwalu? We still inside.
No, I don't want to sleep, man. That's something I'm actually working. I'm actually working as I'm talking to you. And it's stressing me out. That's why I go ahead.
We're going to talk about a couple of things today. The first thing is the photos I'm sending you, or I sent you, are from the year 1965. I always like to vote Dwalu and everybody else. That time, our parents did not know each other yet. 1965.
Yeah.
What? My mom was still in elementary school. People were small in 1965 that we think are big today. The people we call elders today were small in 1965, and we did not exist. But Liberia existed. And so we're going to talk about we're going to go through the pictures relatively quickly, but we're going to talk about what things were like in 1965. Why are we doing that? Because I love the context that it gives us. It shows us how far we've come. It shows us if we've lost anything that we need to try to reclaim. And if there's things that no longer exist that we should throw away and be glad they're in the past and move forward. But the past gives us context. And also our people are beautiful today. They were beautiful yesterday. They will be beautiful tomorrow. So I just like to look at images of Liberian people because, but while you're pulling that up, I want to address something that I wasn't going to address because I think it's silly, but it's not so much what Wode Maya said. It's the reaction that Liberians have to what Wode Maya said. Wode Maya is not a scholar. He's not some intellectual. He's not, running a university. He's a blogger. He's a social media blogger that goes around promoting Africa. And the first thing he did on our Independence Day was he asked a question, which, I think is a valid question that he asked because he didn't know. He said, but if Liberia wasn't colonized, why is Liberia declaring why did Liberia declare its independence or declare itself sovereign? And, that was I thought a legitimate question that people would ask because there's an answer to that. And it's because Liberia was declaring itself free and sovereign and independent in a land of white supremacy. That was in the context of Liberia gaining its sovereignty from the domination of Europe and America. In a time when African people were not allowed to be free and sovereign and independent, they were considered, their sovereignty wasn't recognized to that extent. The second thing is, recently he said that on Flag Day, not just recently, on Flag Day, where he was invited as a guest and given a flag. And he made a comment about Liberian flag. Liberians love their flag, probably love their flag more than they love their country. And it was annoying. It was an annoying comment. I thought it was rude, especially given the context. I don't think the young man really has manners or the type of, he doesn't understand etiquette, social etiquette, the way that some of us would like him to. But that's part of his raw, attraction as a blogger, is that he goes around, his cute little chubby face, and he says to himself like, oh my God, I did not know this. It's kind of a caricature of the African, right? Yeah. Over exaggerated expressions and the kind of thing that African Americans have fought for generations to eradicate, which is the buffoonish, whoa, look at this, what we are doing. Oh, look at Africa, that kind of thing. And people love it. That's good for them. But I personally don't expect some kind of elevated enlightenment from him. I think he's entertaining and I think he's innocent in his entertainment. But my problem that I had is that, well, first of all, I thought the statement was inappropriate given the context of his visit to Liberia on Flag Day. But I don't blame him. What disturbs me is the response that Liberian people always have when they are insulted, is to hail the person who insults them and say, but that is truth, because they're so accustomed to being denigrated and they've been living with the repetition of negativity about our country for so long that when somebody says it, it validates their self-denigration, and so they defend the person that is insulting them with all of their might. I have a talk about your friend Dwal who came to my page today. He never comes to my page. I write all kinds of things about Liberia. I praise Liberia constantly. I try to educate and share information I find on Liberia. He never comes there to say yay or nay or comment. The moment I said that we love our flag because we love our country, here he comes to denigrate Liberia and defend what was said. Well, the country did it and this other one, and y'all don't love the country. Don't come to my page and do that. But his behavior is indicative of a mindset of the repetition of negativity about our country, and it needs validation to them. They must validate it. They must perpetuate it at all costs because it's comfortable. It's a comfortable place. It's not a comfortable place for me. I would never be comfortable with self-denigration. Ghana is also deaded. The slums in Ghana are larger than the city of Monrovia. You understand? Yes, Ghana is advancing and developing. But the first thing that Nkrumah made Ghanaians to start to say was, we are the best. And encouraged Ghanaians to love them. In fact, he created Ghana. He borrowed the name Ghana from ancient Ouagadougou. They used to call the kings of Ouagadougou the Ghana of Ouagadougou, which is nowhere near the current country of Ghana. He borrowed the name. He took a lone star from Liberia and made it black. There are so many things that Ghanaians are proud of that they have borrowed, even from Liberia, the land of return and all of these things. But they're taught to love their country, even though it's not perfect. Even though Ghanaians stand and pee on the road and throw trash on the road, just like Liberians. They're taught to love their country. And I was in Ghana, their flag waving all over the place, especially during the World Cup. Yeah. Everybody was wearing Ghana flag t-shirts. I did not feel offended. I did not see the literally selling in the streets and the beggars and say, oh, Ghanaians love their flag more than their country. Because I understand that you can love your country and still have, your country can still have poor sanitation and still be struggling to get out of poverty. And you can still love your country and your people and the idea of your country and want to strive for it. The two are not mutually exclusive. You can love your country and your country be in the middle of a war and you still love your country. It's not the measure of how you love your country because you have problems. And so I'm saying all of this to say that it's not so much for me what Wode Maya said, it's what Liberians say. Ask yourself, why do you need, when somebody, like when Trump said, oh, these, what whole countries, why did you need to support that and carry it like Kinja on your back or drum on your head? Yeah, that's it. I true that Messi. Why must you do that? What is it that satisfies you in these kinds of statements? The reason we encourage Liberians to love their symbols and love their country is because that is typically followed with action. For a long time, Liberians have been told to hate their flag and to hate everything about the country. We're finally succeeding in letting us embrace ourselves. And people want to denigrate that and downplay it. Civic action and responsibility comes from self-acceptance and self-love. That is the first step. And hopefully now we strive to follow it up with civic action, patriotic action. But to say it's true, they ain't love their country is a lie. That's not true. We must learn how to express our love for country through action that benefits the country. And that is what we are going to do. Thank you, Dwyer.
We got work to do. Yes, we got work to do. And that's why we come here every day. We almost learn to love Liberia. I know it will be difficult. It is not everybody on the same level, but we got to learn to do this. It is important for the next generation. I got the pictures queued. I'm going to start with the big country Lapa. Which one's there?
Yeah, so this is 1965. I think I've shown this picture on here before. It's one of my favorite pictures.
Yep, I love this picture actually.
I found out, I wrongfully said they were Madingo people. They're Bandi traders. Okay. They're Muslim. So I said Madingo because I'm a Liberian and we use the two words, what do you call it? Interchangeably. We shouldn't do that because there's many people in Liberia who are Muslim. Yeah. So I apologize. I did say the last time I showed it that they were Madingo, but they're identified as Bandi traders. But culturally, they are also, and religiously, they're Muslim. And that's why I said Madingo. So I apologize for that to my Bandi people. Y'all sorrow. But here they are with their country cloth, which I think is beautiful.
And all these clothes were made from scratch with hands. With
from Liberian cotton.
Yep.
And yeah, the dyes, everything, the indigo dyes. So if you see the other, not the one the man is spreading, but you can see the dark indigo.
Correct.
The picture, it looks like it's black, but it's actually dark indigo blue. The blue and white there. That's the dark indigo. That's the indigo blue that the founders of the flag said the blue should be the indigo blue because it was a symbol of royalty and the richness of Africa. Because those are the colors that they would see coming in the trade cloth from the north.
So the blue on our flag is not ordinary blue.
No, it's supposed to be indigo, dark blue.
Indigo, dark blue.
A very dark blue. So the ones that we buy in America, like the one behind you, has the kind of blue that they have on the Puerto Rican flag or the U.S. flag.
Right.
But the Liberian flag is a darker blue, intentionally.
So the actual flag is indigo blue. It should be.
Yeah.
See, we learned something today again. Yeah. And these are these beautiful guys.
1965 pygmy hippopotamuses. The pygmy hippopotamus is a beautiful animal. It is endangered. The majority of the wild population of pygmy hippos live in Liberia. They were discovered in Liberia. They were named after Liberia. And that is our animal. The same way China claims that the panda is how Liberia needs to name the pygmy hippo.
It should be on everything.
Every panda on the planet, even if it's born in a zoo, belongs to the People's Republic of China.
Yeah, this one should be on every T-shirt. Our kids should know about it, as we call it back home, hippopotamus.
Hippopotamus. It's the pygmy hippopotamus.
Hippopotamus,
It's a hippopotamus, and it's a beautiful animal. And they love these in Asia. Yep. Rich people in the Middle East are paying millions of dollars for a pet pygmy hippopotamus. So they're being kidnapped and stolen from our rainforest. People are taking helicopters in, stealing them, claiming to be rescuing them and selling them on the black market. We need to have drone surveillance of our rainforest. Let's go to the next.
The next picture.
I want you to read this, Dwalu, because I listened to Deputy Minister Lama Neta and others talking and read about the vocational training.
This is vocational training plays an important part in Liberian education. So rapid is the growth of the country's economy that it is difficult to supply the demands for necessary technicians. A vocational institute left Liberians can learn the skills which may qualify them for a well-paid job in a trade.
So this actually came from the CAI World Factbook on Liberia.
Yep.
The economy was growing so rapidly that the skilled workers, they had to do this to get more skilled workers for people to do well. 1965.
Can you imagine?
You know, and all we like to do is denigrate the country. Since 1847, nothing ever happened. Our people are suffering. I mean, y'all stop this thing. You know, the war has erased our memory, I think.
Yeah, and number two, we don't write enough books about Liberia, and again, we don't read, so it kind of.
Or if we do write them, I mean, there's so many things I've read from authors that are not even. We don't peer review. So people can just write lies, and we just say, we're reading a book.
That's true.
Anyway, here we have a couple of maps from 1965 really quickly. On the left is a population density map. So the darker the color, so the red is the dense population, which obviously you've got Monrovia. You can see Buchanan there, Dwalu.
Yep.
And then up in the rainforest a little bit, I want to believe that's Banga.
Mm-hmm.
You know, around where they got Phoebe. And then if you look on the other side, the dark, you've got the orange, Ganta area, Lofa.
Yep.
Look at the southeast. It's yellow for the most part, that whole Sapo Forest region.
Mm-hmm.
Very scarcely populated.
Very scarcely populated.
In fact, except for Harper in 1965, was pretty densely populated, right?
That's right. Yep.
And then you got some orange, but most of the southeast and the central part of Liberia was very scarcely populated. That's where the dense forests are. Nimba also has dense forests, and so does Lofa, but it was pretty well populated. So that's the density of our human population at that time.
at that time.
I'd be curious to see what that looks like
Yeah,
now.
exactly. I was about to say that. I'll be curious to see.
So that's a snapshot in 1965 of what our populations were. In that time, we didn't have all these counties, right? Lofa was a county because it was one year after they divided the semi-sovereign regions into actual counties. So Nimba, Lofa, Bong, Grand Jita were just 1 year old at this time in history. And then the climate map.
This one?
Yeah, skip over the climate map. Actually, go back quickly to the climate map. On the right, the blue. So this has to do with rainfall in inches. So as we can see, most of our rainfall is on the coast. And as you gradually move up into the mountains, the rainfall is less.
Let's see.
So it doesn't rain as heavily up because you're getting closer to the grasslands. Once you get on the other side of the mountains, it starts to get drier, more arid. That's very important for people to understand. Let's go to the next one.
For the concentration.
You know where that is, Dwalo, this picture?
I want to say this is Iowa. It has to be Buchanan, because if you look over, it's a Lamco processing. It looked at Lamco processing facility. That's the only thing I hear about.
Good guess. That's actually Firestone from there.
Firestone.
That's Bell. Yeah. Okay. That's the area where they process the rubber, and then you got the rubber trees all around there, and then some of the villages where the people live. But that's the processing plant at Firestone in Harbel.
And I kind of like this picture. It shows something that I love. You see the quality of these women. You see the little top level professionals.
They're professors at the Teachers College.
The Teachers College. Wow.
They're professors at the Teachers College at the University of Liberia in 1965. You could go, if you wanted to be a teacher, you went to school for free. So the teachers in Liberia did not pay to go to school. So 1965, Teachers College was completely free. You could go to it once you qualified to get in, you didn't have to pay. And that's why a lot of people would go into teaching, because they could get a university education and not have to pay for it. And then they would become teachers either in private schools or in government schools. But these were professors at the Teachers College at the University of Liberia. Beautiful ladies. I don't know if you recognize them in 1965. Anybody's grandmother or mother or auntie or anything there.
It's pretty cool. Really cool. And this one.
This is a map of Harbel. It's hard to see. I'm going to post it on my page so people can download it and look at it. I thought it was pretty cool. It shows the layout of Harbel. It's laid out. I've said this many times. The time when Firestone Plantation was built, at that time, it was the largest plantation in human history. The largest plantation in the world at the time that it was built. It's no longer the largest plantation in the world, but when it was built, it was the largest single plantation. Not just largest rubber plantation, largest plantation, period. And it was built similarly to what the slave plantations look like in America, but just on a much more massive scale. But I'll post this on my page so people can see it.
And then the final picture here.
Yeah, it was labeled Native Liberian Dancers. You see how dark the blue in the flag is?
Yeah, I just saw that. I just noticed that.
Yeah, it's a very dark. Our flag is supposed to be a very dark blue. And when I went to Liberia for the 26th, most of the flags I saw in the streets were very dark blue. So I think we know that.
Okay, good.
Yeah, I think it's the flags we buy in America that we order. Yeah. They just do any kind of blue. But I think in Liberia, the flags I saw had the correct blue. Most of them. Not all. The ones they bring in from China don't look right.
Yeah, I want a Patriot produced.
Yeah.
All right. So if you type in call name on your Facebook thing,
let me put
that name.
Page.
That name is pretty. It's pretty unique on the name she uses, so I'm pretty sure it will pop up, and you can go there. Well, thank you so much for popping in today. Listen, we spoke about a lot of things today. We all got work to do. The fault is everybody's, but we got to understand we got to improve the system. And additionally, I gave that disclaimer earlier. We on the platform, sometimes 10 people come in, sometimes 5 people come in. What anybody does, I cannot be held responsible for it. Yes, I'm the moderator. I will say, listen, let's keep it clean or let's do this. But sometimes people get angry, they will say stuff. And I know people will come on and be, oh, Dwalo, you're on the show. And the person did it. Yeah, I'm on the show. Somebody call somebody and you don't like it, go take it with that person. If you hear me cussing, which you will never hear me cussing, and I will state my position, you don't have to agree with me. You can counter whatever you want to say, but I cannot be held responsible for what another man does. Ever. I hold myself responsible for what I do. I would say if you listen to the conversation, I even did tell him, hey man, it's his families are listening, let's stop that. But even besides
Wait, what
that,
happened, Dwala? I'm sorry to interrupt
no,
you. But
it just that, people running, a lot of people been calling people running around with this thing. And then my ANC brothers have taken
what
it.
thing now?
So all about Nanuga was on the platform. And then I played a video with Cole out of Bond County, as a representative. And then all about Nanuga spoke. He spoke in a very strong terms, I wanted to plug that, something to that effect. And it was a very strong comment. And then the argument is, Dwalo were on the show and the men were cussing. They said nothing.
They actually cussed?
I would say yes, but I don't remember. It was pretty strong. The word he called, I know he used the word flog, the F word, not F, but flog. I wanted to flog that man. Yeah. Look. And yeah, exactly. Right. So
okay, go ahead. Now I understand. So he was harsh on the guy.
You were harsh on the guy. Okay. That argument is, how can I be on the show and somebody talking to that and I don't go stop it? Are you serious? Yeah.
So when the Melvin Cole man, of course, people, you gotta go after him too.
Yeah. But there's another argument. When Dr. Francine was on the show causing Jackie the last time, will you blame everybody on our show what Dr. Francine said? The point that when you try to shift responsibility, you're going to lose that battle. Because I would never hold you, Yasini, responsible for something Lufa does. Lufa will do what Lufa does. But at the end of the day, if you don't want to play this politics in this way, it doesn't make sense. This is my argument. It doesn't make sense. On any platform, what anybody says is that person's responsibility, not my responsibility. You can say, oh, Dwalu, you're hosting, you should have muted the person. Yeah, maybe or the person says something.
No, you should not have, Dwalu. I don't think, and I didn't hear what Chris said, but I don't agree with that. And I'm glad you didn't mute him.
No.
He's not responsible for what he says. He's a grown man, and he meant what he said.
Yeah.
I don't know what he said, but I stand by what he said because he's got a right to say it. As long as he wasn't, insulting some innocent person, which I know he would not do. But sometimes if you have the audacity to go out there constantly lying on people, some of these fake advocates, if I were Alex Cummings, some of the people that follow him, I would tell them, unfollow me, y'all stop running around spoiling my name.
Spoiling the man name for real.
A lot of the reason that Cummings is not popular in Liberia is because of people like Yasini that go around lying. And I said it, quote me. That's the reason. So those are the people that are denigrating stuff. Just get up and just be lying.
And
just lying on a global platform constantly, things that we can prove our lies. And then these are the people that want to judge people. I beg you, yeah.
And that's another thing they say on the platform. Oh, I've been on the platform now maybe for 2 years. Nobody cost anybody here. They say, oh, the platform government official costing everybody. No,
that's a lie.
That's a lie. People may have a strong opinion.
Quote me, they lie about everything.
They're lying.
Liars, and everybody know y'all a lie. Everybody
and
knows.
And they say, oh, Daniel Sando was costing Senator Amakone. I never heard Daniel Sando was costing Senator Amakone. Sando responded to him in a strong term.
Dwalu Kane said something about this man riding on the president's back. Do you know how what a vulgar image that produces? You say man riding on another man's
back. Yeah.
That is what Connor said. These people are hypocrites. They're dishonest. They're only here to judge people that they don't agree with. When they agree with you, you can kill human beings that will defend you. They are hypocrites. You owe them no explanation. Dwalu, you're not responsible for what I say.
No.
And I'm not responsible for what you say.
No.
But I say they are hypocrites and liars. And the day I get vexed and I start drawing out all of your lies and lay it out lie by lie, and how your lies are the ones responsible for turning people against Cummings, and poor Cummings, he can't help the people that are behind him. But if I were he should cut some of these people off. They're hateful, bitter, spiteful.
I don't even understand them. You can't win people over. And the thing is, you always believe. And the funny thing is, they're supposed to be the most educated bunch of Liberians. This is how they label themselves.
They're not.
I don't have qualms about that. That's why you want to label yourself. I don't have a problem with it. But here's the thing. If you want to have a discussion, Let's have a discussion, remove the lies, and come on and say, oh, come, look, I will invite you. Oh, I don't know kind of people, you monopolize the show, maybe monopolize the show, then you scared, let's have a conversation.
These people lie on the president. They insult this elderly
all
man.
the time.
They speak like they didn't get pa and ma before, cussing people's parents. Then they have this hypocrisy, and then the idea that they're so educated. Some of them, the way they can chop the English language says.
Oh, how you know?
You want to be looking down on people. You can't even pronounce words.
Hey, man.
You don't even
So
have
now
a
we get to
command of
when you
English. Who are
talking.
you fooling around here? Who are
You
you
talking?
fooling?
Yeah. And that's one of the things. Look, if you're going to criticize when the person criticizes you back, don't get angry and say the person cussing you. Because you can kind of attack me. And then I'll give you an example. One day on the Spoon Network, we had a heated argument. And it was me and Mariah. And Mariah was the first to literally insult me. And the problem was, snap sentence of mental, let it go. You know, and at the end of the day, and me, I love the Kaula, you got to take skin. Because this is my belief. If you call yourself a woman and you insult me first, I should have the right to respond to you. Won't play that woman card. I'm not going to agree with you. You can go, you cannot, you don't play the woman card with me. If you won't play the woman card, be your woman. But when you cross the line, I have to respond. And they begin and send how the legend say, you know, Dwalu, I mean, let it go. I have to let it go. Because if I had responded, they would say, oh, don't respond. But you can't call a man and then you jump into, I'm a woman car. And that's what the way that way.
I agree.
That's what the way that way. If I said anything, I would never say it to a woman. But a woman, there's anything she would never say it to me. Not because I'm better, but there are bonus points.
Husband, that's true.
Thank you.
I agree 100%, Dwalu.
And those little things, then we got to stop it. If we're going to have the conversation about the country, we have to be truthful continuously.
One of the things they do, Dwalu, because if you don't support, if you don't support Alex Cummings, it's like a sickness.
Yeah.
I'm friends with so many seditionists. I've never supported George Weah for president.
Yeah.
I have friends from CDC that I love and adore. Whatever their business with George Weah, I don't care.
Yeah.
I do not have very many friends from ANC. Very few. And it's the ones who are responsible. But the loudmouths behind ANC, you cannot, I mean, it's like an obsession. You don't support Cummings, they will lie on you. They will slander you. They will carry your name around. So many of them.
The people went as far as saying you can't even feed yourself if you don't. And I'm like, what are you guys doing? Why would you even think, oh yeah, that cartoon will go push it in America? Why are we scoop so low?
Because, listen, Dwalu, I'm going to say this, and I believe what I'm about to say to be true. I think a lot of people on social media have serious mental health issues. And they throw themselves into politics in order to they get upset. It's like an obsession, a compulsive obsession, where that's all they can think about. ANC Cummings, because it's a psychiatric issue. Mm-hmm. Some of the things they do are not normal. You in your car, you going Facebook Live. You in the people's school, you're supposed to be working, you're going Facebook Live. You in the supermarket, you're going Facebook Live. You in your bedroom, in your nightgown, you Facebook Live. To talk about the same things over and over and over and over and over. That's not normal, Dwalu. That's not normal. It's obsessive, and you hate everyone with such a passion. You'll go after them, lie on them, curse them, and it's an obsession. Get some help. That is not advocacy. I've been a student activist, a political activist most of my life, since I was a teenager, since high school, middle school even. I've never been so personal about it. If your obsession with politics is making you hate that you scared of Chris Onanuga so that, you ain't get access to him, so you want to go to Dwalu to go blame Dwalu for what Chris said. Y'all get some help.
It don't make sense. It don't even make sense. I want to say this for people to understand that if we are going to address the issue of the country, certain behavior, we got to discourage it. And at the end of the day, what a man does, the man responsible for it. What a woman does, she's responsible for it. They must start shifting blame. If it's funny and I want to show, I will laugh. Because at the end of the day, my Indian pin, I ain't nobody else. Oh, it was a pleasure as always. Have a great day. Librarian Puya, thank you for popping in here, man. We had an excellent day today. Thank you. Have a great day.
Yeah, liberate developing. This is the Class Reloaded, the #1 online show that brings the truth. Showcasing J&B and JKK progress all across the country.
The Class Reloaded, we are online every day. Showcasing progress, the Liberian way.
Well,
JMB and JKK, they're making the way. The Class Reloaded, we're shining today.
From Monrovia City to the other counties, development talk shake the country. We talk the truth, we don't lie. The rescue mission making people smile. Roads getting better, schools better, electricity stable, no more hoping. We see the change, we see the light. Unity Party doing things right. Who talk the facts?
The Class Reloaded.
Who bring the vibe?
The Class Reloaded.
Support development.
The Class Reloaded.
Who better rise again?
Oh yes we can.
Who talk the facts?
The Class